Chapter 11:18. The reason for all the trouble. When Di Biming heard Xue Wuji's duck-like laughter, he frowned slightly. With a wave of his hand, Nangong Luoyue and Lin Han immediately fainted on the chair. Di Biming, can't you be more civilized? Why did you make them faint just like that? Xue Wuji said with a look of disdain. Noisy. Di Biming spat out two words coldly. Xue Wuji finally found a chance to have a good chat with Yun Chujio. He walked up to her and said, "Do you think I'm willing to babble non-stop? No matter what, you have to act like it. You're well-developed and simple-minded. Little sister Jio, don't you think I'm right? If your brother kept talking to you the moment you stepped in, how will you survive in the Tianyuan Academy if this gets out?" Dean Huangfu was so shocked when he saw Xue Wuji suddenly become so obsequious. His heart almost stopped beating. Oh God, could it be that there was something wrong with his eyes? Was this obsequious thing really young Master Wuji? And who the hell was little sister Jio? Could it be that Yun Chujie's parents were old friends with Xuemo and his wife? Brother Wuji is very thoughtful. I just don't know why you and the Prince Charming went through so much trouble to drag the dean into this. What exactly do you want to do? If you want to see me, can't you just wait until Xuanxiu? Yun Chujio asked in confusion. Dean Huangfu felt that his brain no longer functioned. This little girl dared to call Xue Wuji Black Chicken Head? And who the hell was Prince Charming? Could it be that he was called His Excellency? Today the two great gods suddenly approached him and made him put on such a show. The Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue that he chose were people with no background and honest personalities. Firstly, it was not good for him to reject the two great gods. Secondly, he was also curious about what they were going to do and what kind of relationship Yun Chujio had with them. Xue Wuji said fawningly, "Little sister Jio, have you forgotten? Tomorrow is your 18th birthday. You can't leave the Tianyuan Academy, so we took the trouble to come in to look for you. If we came to visit you directly, I'm afraid we would bring you trouble. This way it won't be so conspicuous and we can celebrate your birthday with you tomorrow." He would never admit it, but he just wanted to enter the Tianyuan Academy and show off so that Yun Chujio could see his explosive popularity. Moreover, it would be open and above board. Much better than sneaking around. Yun Chujio was stunned. She had already forgotten about her birthday. Time passed so quickly to her that in the blink of an eye, it was already going to be her 18th birthday. Di Biming glared at Xue Wuji. Originally, he was prepared to think of a way to sneak into the Tianyuan Academy. He did not expect Xue Wuji to come in and stir things up. In the end, it turned out to be such a large-scale event. Then thank you, Prince Charming and Brother Wuji. Hee, have you prepared your birthday gifts? Yun Chujio was very touched. She did not expect the two of them to go through so much trouble just to celebrate her birthday. Little sister Jio, don't worry. I've prepared something good for you. Xue Wuji said with a fawning expression. Di Biming did not say anything and only nodded slightly. Dean Huangfu sat on the chair with a stiff expression. He felt that this was the first time in his life that he had something affect him so badly. Damn, it turned out that these two great gods had spent so much effort just to spend a birthday with this little girl. How capricious. Not only was this little girl not overwhelmed by the favor, she even brazenly asked for a gift? There was probably no other person besides her who dared to be so arrogant as to ask for a gift from His Excellency and young Master Wuji. Chapter 11:19. Are you a man? What surprised Dean Huangfu even more was that His Excellency and young Master Wuji looked as if they were used to it. How was this possible? The most unbelievable thing was that both His Excellency and young Master Wuji's eyes were filled with pure adoration. Could it be that both of them liked this little girl? How could this be possible? Although the little girl was good-looking, she was only on par with the three pearls. Yet the esteemed Lord and young Master would not be mesmerized by those three. Furthermore, this little girl was only at the first level of the spirit sect, and she had ascended from the Azure Mystic Continent. How could such an outstanding duo like her? Well, the little girl was actually quite a freak. She had not even been hurt once despite being struck by heavenly lightning for 10 hours, and she was surprisingly bold. Perhaps the esteemed Lord and young Master Wuji liked her brazen personality? Dean Huangfu looked at the interaction of the three with a dumbfounded expression. The two people who were usually arrogant had a completely different look. The demonic charm had turned into flattery, and the aloof personality had turned into a warm man. That little girl was too strange. Lord Dean, thank you for making things easy for the Prince Charming and Brother Wuji. You should come to my birthday party tomorrow night. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Dean Huangfu was stunned. He did not expect Yun Chujio to invite him like this. He saw that Yun Chujio's expression was very sincere, and he was curious about the relationship between this little girl and the two great gods. After he thought for a while, he agreed. Di Baiming and Xue Wuji felt that it was not bad to let Dean Huangfu participate. That way it would be easier to silence others. Moreover, Yun Chujio's future life in the academy would be bright if she built a good relationship with Dean Huangfu. As for Lin Han and Nangong Luiyue, these two background characters naturally had to be brought along. When the time came, they could just say a few words and knock her out. Dean Huangfu was very tactful. You guys catch up, I'll go rest in the study room for a while. After Di Baiming and the other two stood up to send him off, they returned to the living room. Xue Wuji had a stomach full of words that he wanted to say to Yun Chujio. Instantly he kept on babbling non-stop. Yun Chujio had not seen Xue Wuji for a long time. She bragged about what had happened after she arrived in the Tianyuan continent, especially how she had ordered the Huang class students to beat up Ma Sheng and the others, how she had pulled out the tail feathers of the vermilion-beaked long feather cranes, and how he had tricked more than 10 demon beasts into being controlled by her. From then on, those naked cranes were like little chicks in front of me. They were extremely obedient. Yun Chujio said while dancing with joy. Little sister Jio, you are really amazing. I knew that you would end up the most dazzling existence no matter where you are. It's just so. I don't know which blind person assigned me to the Huang class. So what if it's the Huang class? I will still be able to do well. Yun Chujio said smugly. That's right. Gold will shine sooner or later. Little sister Jio might surpass Di Baiming's expressionless face and become #1 on the roll of prodigies in the future. Just as Yun Chujio was about to say a few more words smugly, Di Baiming said coldly, Little Jio, you're practically the weakest one now. Don't feel smug just because you've gained the upper hand with a little bit of cleverness. If your strength doesn't go up, you'll suffer a big loss sooner or later. It's better to cultivate properly. Without waiting for Yun Chujio to speak, Xue Wuji was displeased. Di Baiming, are you still a man when you say that? You keep saying that you like little sister Jio. Isn't it natural for a man to protect a woman? So what if little sister Jio is weak? Isn't that what you and the Hall of Longevity are for? Won't you always protect little sister Jio? Chapter 11:20. The Ghostly One. Di Baiming frowned. Xue Wuji, little Jio is my woman. I will do my best to protect her, but the safest way is for her to increase her spiritual power. That way, even if I am careless, she will be able to protect herself. To stay together for a long time, she has to increase her spiritual power. It's just an excuse. Little sister Ju, you can be as happy as you like. You don't have to care about this facial paralysis. If he doesn't protect you, I will. Yun Chujio giggled. Brother Wuji, what Prince Charming said makes sense. I'd better improve my spiritual power as soon as possible. I'll work hard to cultivate and try to catch up with you guys as soon as possible. Xue Wuji sighed. Little sister Jio, you're always so strong that it makes your brother's heart ache. Don't worry, no matter what happens, brother will help you. Di Baiming felt that his teeth were getting a little sore from all the gritting. After not seeing Xue Wuji for a few months, this Xue Wuji was becoming more and more shameless. Although Yun Chujio also felt that these words had the flavor of an idol drama, she was very touched in her heart. She knew that Xue Wuji spoke the truth, but unfortunately she only treated him as a brother. In the future, if there was a chance, she would help him find a good sister-in-law candidate. The three of them chatted for a while more. Yun Chujio felt that it was a little too much to leave Dean Huangfu hanging for such a long time. Thus she said, Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, let's have a good chat when I'm resting. It's better to invite Dean Huangfu back. It's already been almost 2 hours. Leaving the old man hanging in the study room is a little unreasonable. After Dean Huangfu was invited back, Di Baiming also woke up Lin Han and Nangong Luiyue, who had fainted. The two of them were slightly stunned. Yun Chujio giggled. Senior Lin, Senior Nangong, the two of you were probably too excited just now and fainted. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. Lin Han and Nangong Luiyue blushed. Thank you, Junior Yun. Dean Huangfu secretly cursed in his heart. This little girl was full of shrewd ideas. Not only did she shut their mouths, but she also made it look like she did them a favor. This little girl was cunning. Everyone chatted for a while more. Xue Wuji rolled his eyes and said, Junior brothers and sisters, why don't you accompany us for a stroll around the academy? We haven't been back for so many years. I really miss this place. Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were naturally overwhelmed by the favor and quickly agreed. This old man still has some matters to attend to, so I won't be able to accompany the two of you. Dean Huangfu reminded Lin Han and the other two to properly entertain Di Baiming and Xue Wuji before leaving the guest house. After a while, Di Baiming and the other three also left the guest house. Very quickly, a group of fangirls gathered behind them once again. Di Baiming had the appearance of one not bothered with strangers, while Xue Wuji smiled like a spring breeze. He chatted and laughed with Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue beside him, but he was completely indifferent towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio did not feel awkward at all. She lazily followed behind the four of them with a spirit fruit in her hand as if she had nothing to do with it. The fangirls were disappointed. Did that Yun Chujio have any ambition at all? Why don't you just charge forward? Are you going to waste such a great opportunity? Have you never eaten a spirit fruit in your life? The fangirls wished they could drag Yun Chujio over and beat her up. You're wasting such a great opportunity. You don't even know how to seize such a great opportunity. You're really stupid. Chapter 11:21. Xue Wuji's idiocy. Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yan were very satisfied. It seemed that Yun Chujio was really not enlightened. She did not even grasp such a good opportunity. That meant that she did not have any ill intentions toward his excellency. That bitch Yin Xinlian was indeed only trying to sow discord. Yun Chujio glanced at the two people who came from the opposite side and cursed in her heart. The Yin sisters' constitutions were really strong. In just a short while they had become lively again. The two people who came were Yin Xinlian and Yin Sulian. It was obvious that the two of them had freshened up. Although their eyes were still slightly red and swollen, it did not affect their beauty. Instead it made them look more pitiful. The two of them reversed their previous initiative. This time they only bowed slightly and then followed the five of them silently. Yun Chujio thought to herself, have they changed their strategy? Are they preparing to play the innocent White Lotus card? Junior Lin, let's go to the library and take a look. Back then, this young master was a model of diligent study and spent most of his time in the library. The tutor guarding the library was full of praise for this young master. Xue Wuji said as he stroked the hair in front of his forehead. This action immediately caused waves of exclamations from the fangirls. They felt that young Master Wuji was too charming. When everyone reached the front of the library, the instructors of the library had already waited outside the library. When one of the older instructors saw Xue Wuji, he subconsciously frowned. Instructor Yen, aren't you very happy to see this young master? Back then, my relationship with Instructor Yen was the best. Xue Wuji smiled wickedly at the older instructor. Instructor Yen subconsciously took a step back. A good relationship. What a joke. Back then this Xue Wuji had caused me a lot of trouble. He had smeared countless books in the library and even glorified it as helping the academy beautify the books. The real reason was that he felt that the covers of those books weren't good looking. There was also a ban on eating in the library. Not only was this fellow brazenly eating in there, he even forced others to eat. This was because if the law didn't punish everyone, he would be able to escape punishment. Instructor Yen, this young master has not returned for many years. I really miss those books that were beautified by this young master back then. I wonder if you can make them out so that all the junior brothers and sisters can appreciate my painting skills? Xue Wuji had the intention to show off in front of Yun Chujio. Naturally, Instructor Yen could not refuse Xue Wuji. He asked his subordinates to take out the few books that Xue Wuji had beautified back then. When Instructor Yen saw the thick stacks of books in the hands of his instructors, he wanted to slap Xue Wuji, who gloated nearby. He had ruined the ancient books in sheepskin scrolls, so there was no way to repair them. Yun Chujio saw the messy cover and the corner of her eyes twitched. It turned out that Wu Ji's brain had always been stupid. It was worse than it was now. If Xue Wuji knew what Yun Chujio was thinking, he would definitely regret it. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio was reading seriously and felt a little sour in his heart. He nodded slightly at Instructor Yen, then he said, Instructor Yen, can we go in and take a look? Don't worry, I will keep an eye on Xue Wuji. I won't let him do anything excessive. Xue Wuji was about to retort, but he thought about it and decided to endure it. If he quarreled with Di Baiming in public, little sister Jio would definitely be unhappy. He had better not lower himself to the level of that facial paralysis. Chapter 11:22. That foodie stayed behind. Of course, Instructor Yen would not refuse. He nodded and led the way. Everyone followed him into the library. However, because there were too many fangirls following them, only a small portion of them were allowed to pass. The rest had to wait outside. After D. Biming and the others entered, D. Biming chose the 8th floor of the library without a second thought. The rest followed him to the 8th floor. A rare smile appeared on Instructor Yan's solemn face. He pointed to a spot near the window and said, back then His Excellency liked reading there the most. Other than the 5 arts of cultivators, His Excellency has read almost all the books in this building. You really do love books very much. Xue Wuji was immediately upset. Instructor Yan, why then do I hear you say that I don't love books? Instructor Yan coughed dryly. Young Master Wuji naturally cares about books as well. After all, he helped many books perfect their covers. Xue Wuji did not say anything else. He pointed at the books on the bookshelf and babbled non-stop. It showed that he had read the books on the bookshelf as well. That attracted exclamations of joy from his fans. Yun Chujio felt that he was too good at showing off. He was even cockier than she was. Yun Chujio chewed on the spirit fruit while she looked at the seat by the window. An idea popped up in her mind. If she were to send the Huang class students to occupy the seat that D. Biming sat at every day, then those rich students would want to sit there too. Could it be a way to make money? While everyone chatted and laughed, an old man appeared out of nowhere. He had dry hair and had a braid on the back of his head. He berated unhappily, "Since when did the library become a tea house? If you want to talk about books, get out and talk." Yun Chujio thought that Xue Wuji would fly into a rage. She did not expect Xue Wuji to rub his nose and not say anything. He walked towards the teleportation array dejectedly. Instructor Yan and D. Biming bowed slightly to the old man and followed him towards the teleportation array. The old man suddenly said, "You, foodie, stay behind." Everyone looked at each other. They did not know who the old man was talking about. Then, their eyes were fixed on Yun Chujio, who had chewed on the spirit fruit in her hand. There was no doubt that the old man talked about Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio pointed at herself. "Senior, are you talking about me?" The old man snorted. "Who else is there besides you? How dare you eat in the library? You are just as ridiculous as that Xue Wuji. You stay behind and help me do some work." Xue Wuji did not get angry when he heard the old man's words, but he was secretly happy. That old man was indeed a sensible man. He and little sister Jio had the same temperament, so they were naturally the same kind of people. He deliberately ignored the words ridiculous at the end. D. Biming gave Yun Chujio a subtle look, indicating that she should not mess around. Yun Chujio was shocked. It seemed that this old man was someone he respected. Not only did Xue Wuji not dare to argue, but even the pretty boy was also afraid of him. Who was the old man? After everyone left, Yun Chujio finished the remaining spiritual fruits in 2 or 3 bites. Then she jumped in front of the old man and asked, "Senior, what do you need me to do for you?" "Copy the books word for word." The old man threw words coldly. Then he threw a few goatskin scrolls, a pile of blank goatskin scrolls, a pen and ink to Yun Chujio. Although Yun Chujio's heart thundered, she remembered D. Biming's warning gaze, so she could only put the goatskin scrolls on the desk and sadly began to copy the books. Chapter 11:23. Copying books. Yun Chujio looked at her dog-like handwriting. She regretted she had not listened to D. Biming and practiced her handwriting. Wasn't this too embarrassing? Ahem. Senior, my dog-like handwriting is unsightly. Why don't you find someone else to copy the books? Yun Chujio copied half a page, blinked her eyes and handed the copied book to the old man. The old man looked at the half-page book that Yun Chujio copied and his eyes twitched. Continue copying. When you finish copying, your handwriting will naturally improve. You are not allowed to eat or sleep until you finish. Yun Chujio had no choice but to return to the desk and continue copying the book miserably. The regret in her heart was like a torrential river. She told you to be greedy and she told you to be greedy. Why did you have to eat spiritual fruits when you had nothing to do? Yun Chujio blamed D. Biming again. It was all the pretty boy's fault. Why did he have to come here for no reason? There was also the black chicken's head. If he had not insisted on coming to the library, the pretty boy would not have said that he wanted to come in. It was all because of these 2 idiots. She was in real trouble now. She did not know what identity this old man had and what he wanted to do. Could it be that he wanted to torture her? How could she have the time to cultivate when she was copying books every day? Not to mention eating, drinking and having fun. Yun Chujio copied the books until the sun set. The old man said, "All right, let's call it a day. Come back tomorrow after class to continue copying. If you don't show up." Yun Chujio wanted to flatter him but found that the old man had disappeared. The old man curled his lips and had no choice but to leave the library through the teleportation formation. Yun Chujio left the library and saw the sunset. She finally felt better after the whole afternoon of toil. Then she remembered that Di Biming and Xue Wuji were the ones who put her in that situation. She could not be bothered to visit them, so she went back to her dormitory. She opened the isolation array and let Little Black Bird and the others out. After dinner they sat on the recliner and pondered. The books that the old man asked her to copy were all written in ancient characters. He did not know any of them. What exactly were they about? It would be great if she could read ancient characters. Unfortunately, there were too few people who still could. In addition, the pretty boy was right. She had to focus on her cultivation. With her current spiritual power level, she might be eliminated in the mid-year competition 3 months later, not to mention being part of the role of prodigies. Just as Yun Chujio let her thoughts run wild, she heard a flurry of footsteps coming from outside the courtyard. It was obvious that many people were walking towards her. Yun Chujio frowned. Could it be Black Chicken Head and the others? Junior Yun. Young Master Wuji and His Excellency want to visit your courtyard. Why aren't you coming out to welcome them? Everyone shouted outside the courtyard. Yun Chujio really wanted to say scram. She was in a bad mood, but now was not the time to be stubborn. She could only disable the isolation array and look at the people outside the courtyard with a smile. The two people who stood at the front were naturally Di Biming and Xue Wuji. Behind the two of them were Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue. Behind them were the three beauties and behind them were the fangirls. Xue Wuji pursed his lips. Junior Yun, I've never been to the Huang class dormitory before. I wonder if it's convenient for me to take a look around? Although Yun Chujio wanted to kill Xue Wuji with a slap, she smiled and said, "Welcome. Everyone please come in." Xue Wuji swaggered into the courtyard, but Di Biming frowned. Other than Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue, the rest you don't have to come in. Shut up and stay there. Chapter 11:24. Smooth Hair. The three beauties and the others could only watch as Yun Chujio's courtyard once again activated the isolation array. They could no longer see or hear anything. Xue Wuji entered the courtyard and looked around. His gaze was immediately attracted by the three-beaded tree and the swing. He sat on the swing and swayed back and forth. Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were very surprised. They originally thought that the Huang class dormitory would be very shabby. They did not expect that even though the courtyard was a little small, the houses still looked quite new. Moreover, the courtyard was full of flowers and plants, and there were even 3 fruit trees that had already borne fruit. That swing was especially attractive to Nangong Luoyue, and she also wanted to sit on it to play on it for a while. Yun Chujio let the 4 of them sit on the stone chairs, and then took out a pot of tea, cakes and spirit fruits to serve the 4 of them. Xue Wuji pretended to say a few words, and then impatiently knocked out Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue, the 2 unlucky fellows, again. The corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. It seemed that she had to compensate Senior Lin and Senior Nangong in the future. Otherwise she would be letting the 2 of them down. Brother Wuji, it's okay for them to faint once, but you knocked them out again. How are you going to explain it to them later? Xue Wuji stroked the hair on his forehead. Little sister Jio, don't worry. I used the charm this time. Their minds will come up with the scenario themselves. Let's continue chatting later. Yun Chujio nodded. That was not bad. She did not expect Wuji to be so smart. Little sister Jio, what did that old man ask you to help him with? When Yun Chujio heard Xue Wuji mention that, she grew furious. That damn old man asked me to copy books. He made me copy all the ancient characters. I don't know any of them. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, do you know how to read ancient characters? Di Biming and Xue Wuji both shook their heads. Not everyone could recognize or read the ancient characters. What exactly is that damned old man's identity? Why do I feel that both of you are afraid of him? Aren't the 2 of you big shots here? Yun Chujio asked in puzzlement. Cough, cough. Normally speaking, I'm naturally not afraid of anything. It's just that that old man is very strange. He comes and goes like a ghost. I think back then I also resisted. Then cough, cough. Xue Wuji rubbed his nose. He did not continue. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. Prince Charming, did Brother Wuji get beaten up by that old man? Di Baiming curled his lips. That time Xue Wuji ate in the library and threatened others to eat with him. Then he was thrown out of the library by that senior. Furthermore, he was beaten until his face was swollen and he was thrown out. Naturally, he was unwilling to let it go. It was a pity that from that time on if he messed around he would be beaten up and thrown out of the library. Xue Wuji shouted awkwardly, "Enough. Why are you talking about such trivial matters? Little Sister Jiu, how many books did that old man ask you to copy?" "A pile of them. Damn it, he wants me to copy books for him every day from now on. I'm going crazy," Yun Chujiu said angrily. "Little Jiu Sr. has his reasons for doing this. Just copy the books obediently," Di Baiming said while stroking Yun Chujia's small head. Xue Wuji's hands were itchy when he saw Di Baiming stroking Yun Chujia's hair. However, he could only watch and could not touch it. "All right. I'll take it as practicing calligraphy. It's just that I don't know how to read those ancient characters. Otherwise it would be interesting." Yun Chujiu felt that her hair was smooth after being touched by Di Baiming a few times. Chapter 1125. The Charm of the Black Chicken Head. Little Sister Jiu, since you still have to copy books tomorrow, I can only celebrate your birthday at night. That damn old man, it's fine if he tortured me back then, but now he's torturing you as well. I just can't beat him or else I'll definitely show him. Let's spend the night together then. Where are we going to spend the night? At my place or the guest house? Yun Chujiu had already accepted the fact that she had to copy the book every day. Of course, it's at your place, Little Sister Jiu. I'll think of a reason tomorrow. Little Sister Jiu, don't worry. It's about time. We should leave too. Otherwise those idiots might stir up some trouble again. Not that I mind. The main reason is that I'm afraid of implicating you, Little Sister Jiu. Yun Chujiu nodded. Xue Wuji woke up Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue. The two of them did not seem to have fainted at all. They chatted with the crowd as if nothing happened. Yun Chujiu clicked her tongue in wonder. Wu Jie's charm technique was indeed magical. She reckoned that when they were in the Azure Mystic Continent his spiritual power was limited, so he could not use it. The five of them chatted for a while longer before Xue Wuji and the other three left the courtyard. Even though it was already late, there were still many fangirls waiting outside. They escorted Di Baiming and Xue Wuji all the way back to the guest house. Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were immediately surrounded by everyone. "What did young Master Wuji and His Excellency say to you? What did you guys do inside? Who has a better impression of the three of you, young Master Wuji or His Excellency?" Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue vividly recounted what had happened. They just drank tea and chatted away. They also talked about some matters of the Tianyuan Academy. Everyone was very disappointed and thought that there would be some explosive news. A thought flashed through Yin Xinlian's mind and she asked, "I wonder how young Master Wuji and His Excellency treat Yun Chujiu? And how did she behave?" "His Excellency is very cold to the three of us. Young Master Wuji is a little better. But young Master Wuji doesn't seem to like Junior Yun and treats her very coldly. Junior Yun only eats and eats. She rarely talks to them," Nangong Luoyue said with a slightly red face. This was the first time she had received so much attention from so many people. She was really not used to it. Bailey Yen pursed her lips. "Yin Xinlian, are you relieved now? You're always on guard against that little girl, Yun Chujiu. You're paranoid. However, I don't think there's any hope for you sisters, so stop daydreaming." Yin Sulian stomped her feet angrily. "Bailey Yen, you're the one daydreaming. What's a person with a neck disease showing off for?" Bailey Yen was so angry that she raised her hand and was about to slap Yin Sulian. Yin Xinlian raised her hand and blocked Bailey Yen. "Bailey Yen, are you going to violate the rules of the academy?" Bailey Yen retracted her hand angrily and then mocked, "Yin Xinlian, I'm really sad for you. You're also a smart person. It's a pity that you have a stupid sister. Sooner or later you'll be implicated by her." Yin Sulian wanted to say more, but Yin Xinlian glared at her. "Let's go." At noon the next day, Yun Chujiu reluctantly hopped into the library after class. After she went up to the 8th floor, the old man appeared in front of Yun Chujiu. The old man put a stack of books on the desk. Just as the old man was about to leave, Yun Chujiu said with a smile, Senior, please wait." The old man looked at her. "Little Foodie, what's the matter?" The corner of Yun Chujiu's eyes twitched. "Little Foodie? Alright, although it was a not nice thing to say, she was indeed a foodie, so he could just call her that. Chapter 1126. Turned out to be an old foodie senior. I don't know any of these ancient characters. Please teach me. If I'm going to be able to copy more effectively, I want to be able to understand what I'm writing. I can learn something new along the way too. The old man curled his lips. I've never heard that the act of copying books having anything to do with being able to read them. Just copy the books. Hurry up and get started. If you can't finish copying these books by this afternoon, don't even think about going back to sleep. After the old man finished, he disappeared without a trace again. Yun Chujio pursed her lips, but her heart was filled with joy. This old man only said that he would not teach her. That meant that he knew how to read those ancient characters. As long as you know how to read them, they'll be able to get you to teach me sooner or later. Yun Chujio picked up the brush and started to copy the books with a defeated expression. As she copied, she started to play dirty tricks. She took out a charcoal pen and a drawing board from her storage ring. Not long after, she drew a portrait of the old man. She blew her beard and glared at him. Yun Chujio folded the drawing paper and stuffed it into the middle of a few goatskin books. Finally, when the sun had just set, Yun Chujio finished copying the goatskin book that the dry old man had given her. She stretched and shouted, Senior, I'm done. Can I leave now? The old man appeared out of nowhere. He picked up the book that Yun Chujio had copied and flipped through it. As he read, he ridiculed, to be able to write such ugly words, you must be really something special. It's already flattering to say that it's a dog's handwriting. I feel that even if you get a dog to do it, it would have better handwriting. Do you have hands or claws? You wouldn't be able to write so badly just by copying the painting. Other than eating, I think you aren't able to do anything else. Yun Chujio silently muttered in her heart, endure, ill endure. Even Black Chicken Head can't beat this damn old man. If I were to turn hostile, it would just be looking for a beating. I'll just treat it as him scolding himself. This damned old man's handwriting was probably very ugly too. Otherwise, why wouldn't he copy the book himself? Yes, that must be the case. Yun Chujio used the mental victory method to successfully prevent herself from going crazy. Finally, the dry old man had complained enough. Only then did she wave her hand. Scram. Come on time tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, Yun Chujio smiled like a flower and said, Senior, don't worry. I'll definitely come on time tomorrow afternoon. Although I have only copied books for 2 days, I am already addicted to it. If I don't copy books for a day, I feel like I am lacking something. I can make it through a day without eating or sleeping, but I can't without copying books. If I don't copy books for a day, I feel like my life is not perfect. The corner of the dry old man's eyes twitched. This little girl was too good at lying. Senior, to thank you for your help, what do you need? I'll bring it to you tomorrow. Old Ding's roast chicken tastes good. Do you want to try it? The skin of the roast chicken is golden. Crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, too. What? Yun Chujio was rambling on about the roast chicken when she heard the old man say too. She was stunned for a moment before she understood what the old man meant. Fuck, and he dares calls me a foodie. After all this time, this guy is also an old foodie. As long as there's a weakness, it's easy to deal with. I'll let you teach me the ancient characters. No problem. Senior, I have them in my storage ring. You can have them. Yun Chujio handed the 2 roasted chickens wrapped in oil paper to the old man. The old man almost snatched them greedily. Then he felt that it was a little demeaning. He glared at Yun Chujio. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and get lost. Come back on time tomorrow. Senior, then I'll scram. See you tomorrow. Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. You're just an old foodie, why are you still taking advantage of me? Just you wait, sooner or later, they'll make you reveal your true nature. The corner of the dried-up old man's eyes twitched violently. Only this little foodie could say the word scram so naturally. Chapter 1127. Birthday present. The old man almost drooled when he smelled the roasted chicken. He waved his hand at Yun Chujio. When he saw that Yun Chujio had left, he hurriedly broke off a drumstick and ate it. Yes, that's the smell. Damn old Ding. If I hadn't lost a bet with him, I would have forced him to make me a few hundred of them. Forget it, I'll save this one for later. The old man finished one roasted chicken and kept the other one into his storage ring. After the old man used a cleaning spell to clean his hands, then started to tidy up the sheepskin scroll on the desk. Suddenly he found the drawing paper that Yun Chujio had folded. The dry old man curiously opened the drawing paper and saw the drawing was of himself. He blew at his beard and glared at it. Below it was a line of dog-like words. "This drawing is for my most respected senior. He guided me towards the light. He is the sun in my heart." The dried-up old man's beard curled up as he laughed and scolded, "This little girl is really a weirdo." The dried-up old man put away the drawing. After some thought, he took out a few pieces of paper from his storage ring and stuffed them into a sheepskin scroll. Then he muttered to himself, "How much you can comprehend will depend on your luck." After Yun Chujio left the library, she could not wait to return to the dormitory. She had thought about Xue Wuji and Di Baiming's birthday gifts along the way back. Not long after Yun Chujio returned to the dormitory, the sound of chaotic footsteps could be heard from outside again. Yun Chujio walked out of the courtyard happily. As expected, it was Di Baiming and the others. Xue Wuji looked at Yun Chujio with disdain. "Although your courtyard is small and dilapidated, those 3 trees are not bad. Also, the young master likes that swing very much. I will reluctantly stay with you for a while." Yun Chujio smiled and said, "His Excellency young Master Wuji, Senior Lin, Senior Nangong, please come in." After the 5 of them went in, Yun Chujio activated the isolation array. Although the fangirls stretched their necks, they could not see anything. After the 5 of them chatted for a while, Xue Wuji impatiently knocked out the 2 unlucky extras. "Little Sister Jio, happy birthday." Xue Wuji took out a big cake from his storage ring. Although it was not amazing, it looked pretty good. "Thank you, Brother Wuji." Yun Chujio smiled happily. Xue Wuji looked at Yun Chujio's smiling face and felt that the cake that 20 chefs worked hard for a month was worth it. "This is just a small gift. This is the present that I want to give you." Xue Wuji handed Yun Chujio a stack of talismans. "Little Sister Jio, there are concealment talismans, burst talismans and 3 voice transmission talismans. In the future, if you miss me, you can send a message to me," Xue Wuji said proudly. Hearing Xue Wuji's words, Di Baiming frowned slightly but did not say anything. "Di Baiming, where's your birthday present?" Xue Wuji said in a threatening manner. He had collected these talismans for a long time, so Di Baiming's present definitely could not compare to his. Di Baiming threw out a stone from his storage ring, and then the stone grew bigger and bigger until it was as big as a door. After Di Baiming formed a seal, images started to appear on it. Yun Chu and the others appeared on the shadow rock. "Little Jio, happy 18th birthday." Then it was the people from the Spirit Radiance sect. "Happy 18th birthday, little ancestor Yun." Then it was the people from the Thunder sect. "Happy 18th birthday, sect master." Chapter 11:28. Could it be a treasure map? The last person to appear on the shadow stone was Yun Xiaotian. "Little Jio, today is your birthday. Grandfather can't celebrate your birthday personally. You must take good care of yourself in Tianyuan Academy and cultivate well. You don't have to worry about grandfather and family. Baiming has sent people to take good care of us." Di Baiming handed Yun Chujio a lot of things. "This is a congratulatory gift from everyone." Yun Chujio's eyes reddened. "Thank you, Prince Charming." "Little Sister Jio, hurry up and light a candle and make a wish." Xue Wuji felt sour in his heart. He had lost this round again. Although his gift made Little Sister Jio smile and Di Baiming's gift made Little Sister Jio cry, Little Sister Jio would definitely like Di Baiming's gift. The 3 of them ate the cake and put away the remaining cake. They woke up Lin Han and Nangong Luiyue. The 5 of them chatted for a while before the 4 of them left. The next day at noon, Yun Chujio rushed to the library after lunch. When they reached the 8th floor of the library, the dry old man had already prepared the sheepskin scroll. Yun Chujio greeted him with a smile and began to copy the book obediently. This fellow was very good at making merry out of hardships. She treated these ancient characters as pieces of spirit stones. After she finished writing one, she felt that she had earned a spirit stone. She was immediately motivated and wrote quickly. When the old man saw it from behind, he clicked his tongue in wonder. 2 days ago, this little girl looked like she was on the verge of death when she was copying. Why was she copying so happily today? It was as if she had picked up money. Yun Chujio copied for a while and then found a few pieces of paper in the pages of the book. She looked around and saw that the old man had left without her knowing, so she secretly opened the paper. This guy thought, could it be a treasure map or something like that? Blessed people don't need to be busy. They could copy a treasure map even when they were copying books. The words that she copied were indeed spiritual stones. Yun Chujio opened the paper with anticipation and took a look. Her heart instantly turned cold. There was no map at all on it. There were only dense words on it. However, these words corresponded to some ancient characters. Could it be that the old man deliberately left this for her? Was he going to teach her ancient characters? The ancient characters recorded on the few pieces of paper did not correspond to each other one by one. There were a lot of paradoxes. One had to read those goatskin books to slowly understand the specific meaning. Although Yun Chujio had a temperamental personality and liked to be lazy and sly, she had one advantage, which was that she was focused. Once she was focused on something, she would be very focused. Therefore, she stayed in the library until the next morning. She did not notice Di Baiming and Xue Wuji sending him a voice transmission talisman. The dry old man came twice in between, but he did not disturb Yun Chujio when he saw how focused she was. He only walked to Yun Chujio's side when it was time for class in the morning and said, "Little foodie, you won't become fat in one bite. Come back tomorrow." Yun Chujio reluctantly put down the paper in her hand and thanked the old man. Only then did she leave the library and quickly ran to the classroom. This fellow was running to the classroom when he sent a message back to Di Baiming and Xue Wuji, telling them that she did not need to go to the library this afternoon. Yun Chujio had just entered the classroom and sat on her seat when she heard the exclamations of the crowd. She turned her head and saw Di Baiming and Xue Wuji walking into the classroom with Nangong Luoyue and Lin Han. Nangong Luoyue waved at Yun Chujio. "Junior Yun, Your Excellency and young Master Wuji would like to observe a class. Come over and sit here too." Chapter 1129 was all about acting. Yun Chujio walked over eagerly. The problem was that there were a total of 5 people. How were they going to divide the table between 2 people? The most reasonable allocation would be Di Baiming and Xue Wuji sharing a table, Yun Chujio and Nangong Luoyue sharing a table, and Lin Han sharing a table. Unexpectedly, after Di Baiming sat down, he said impatiently, "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and sit down. Class is about to start." After Di Baiming finished speaking, he waved his sleeve and Yun Chujio, who was the closest to him, fell down on the chair. The two of them became deskmates. "You two sit at the table in front. I can just sit at my own table." Xue Wuji cursed in his heart. Damn that facial paralysis. He didn't expect that there were so many tricks up his sleeve. He actually beat him to it. At this moment, Teacher Ji Sha walked in and nodded slightly at Di Baiming and Xue Wuji. Class started as usual. Yun Chujio was absent-minded as Teacher Ji Sha had already taught her all the lessons. In addition to not sleeping last night, she was feeling drowsy. Just as she was about to fall asleep, she felt her hand being held by someone. She looked down and saw Di Baiming holding Yun Chujio's left hand with his wide sleeves. Yun Chujio's thick skin, which had been thick for thousands of years, actually turned slightly red. A song inexplicably rang in her mind. "Will you remember tomorrow the diary you wrote yesterday? Will you still remember tomorrow the one who used to love to cry the most?" Di Baiming held Yun Chujio's small hand that was as soft as jade. His heart itched. It was all that damn Xue Wuji's fault. He was like a follower all day long. He did not have the chance to be alone with little Jio. When little Jio was resting. No matter what, he had to be alone with little Jio. It wasn't until the spirit energy class ended that Di Baiming reluctantly let go of Yun Chujio's left hand. Then he said expressionlessly, "Xue Wuji, it's time for us to leave. Let's go and bid farewell to Dean Huangfu." Di Baiming thought for a moment and took out 3 upper-grade spirit tools from his storage ring and handed them to Yun Chujio and the other 2. "Thank you for accompanying us, junior brothers and sisters. Thank you for your trouble." Xue Wuji also took out 3 high-grade spirit tools and gave them to the 3 of them. He also gave Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue an additional high-grade spirit tool each. "You should try your best to accompany us. You should get more." Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were overwhelmed by the favor and thanked him profusely. They even looked at Yun Chujio sympathetically. Young Master Wuji was obviously very dissatisfied with Junior Yun. They did not know if it would have any negative effect on her. Yun Chujio thought to herself, Wuji's brain sure knows how to act, so she should just act along with him. Hence, this fellow's face revealed an extremely awkward expression as he followed behind her embarrassedly. After Di Baiming, Xue Wuji and Dean Huangfu bid their farewells, they left the Tianyuan Academy under the farewell of everyone. Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were immediately surrounded by many students, asking about the details of the past 3 days and passing on the spirit tools they had obtained. Yun Chujia's side was much quieter. Those with eyes could see that the Venerable One and young Master Wuji were very dissatisfied with her. However, it was also true. It was said that Yun Chujio had been left behind by an old man from the library as a coolie these few days. She did not have time to accompany the Venerable One and young Master Wuji. She was really unlucky. Feng Ming and the other two found it funny when they heard the discussions of the crowd. If these people knew about the relationship between the Venerable One and young Master Wuji and little ninth junior sister, they probably would not say this. It had to be said that life was like a play. It all depended on acting. Chapter 1130 The Old Witch came in the following period of time. Yun Chujio spent most of her time in the library, except for her regular classes. She was very good at using chicken feathers as a command arrow, and she never allowed the instructors in the library to deduct contribution points. She confidently claimed that she was here to help Old Man Gonba. Old Man Gonba obviously had a special status. After Yun Chujio said this, the instructor who was guarding the library let her in. Sometimes Yun Chujio helped the old man copy books, sometimes she studied the ancient characters and sometimes she read other books in the library. The old man turned a blind eye to this. As long as Yun Chujio gave him the roast chicken regularly, it would be fine. Master, you've been going to the library so often that you don't have time to cultivate. What will happen to the mid-year competition? In Xinlian, that little bitch's challenge order has already come into effect. In a few months you'll have to go to the life and death arena with her. Xiao Hanyo felt that he had broken his heart with this troublesome master. Little bitches kept coming out and jumping around. Sharpening the knife doesn't delay cutting the vegetables. However, what he said makes sense. It's been 2 months since I broke through to the 3rd level of the spirit sect last time. These few days I'll work harder and try to break through again. After being struck by lightning last time, Yun Chujio had already advanced to the 3rd level of the spirit sect. However, this fellow was used to pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger and had not adjusted the level of her spiritual power, so others saw her as still at the 1st level of the spirit sect. Xiao Hanyo and the other two looked at each other. Our perverted master is leveling up as if it's a game. It turns out that her leveling up is very regular. Once every 2 months? In the next few days, Yun Chujio and the dry old man applied for leave and began to focus on cultivation, preparing to break through again. That afternoon Yun Chujio came to the canteen for lunch. Before she had finished eating, she heard a few students running in from outside. Another important figure has come to our academy. Important figure? Has come. Your Eminence and young Master Wuji have come again? It's not your Eminence and young Master Wuji. It's the Lady of the Whole Master of the Temple of Immortals. And it's said that she has brought a lot of good things with her. She wants to reward students who are both excellent in their character and learning. The Lady of the Temple Master has always been generous. Every time our 3 pearls of the Academy attends the flower feast, she will be rewarded with a lot of good things. However, doesn't the Lady of the Temple Master rarely leave the Temple of Immortals? Why did she come to the Tianyuan Academy this time? Who knows? She probably came out to relax. I know. Yun Chujio is the daughter of the Lady of the Temple Master's old friend. The Lady of the Temple Master must be here to see Yun Chujio. Everyone's eyes were focused on Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. The old witch would not be so kind to come and see her. She must be preparing to do something again. While everyone was discussing, Yin Sulian walked in. Ever since she was rebuked by Xue Wuji, she had been quiet for a while. However, she soon showed off her power again. Hey, Yun Chujio, the palace mistress has asked to see you. She is waiting for you in the hall of the academy. Hurry up. If you are late, you will suffer the wrath of her. Yin Sulian showed a contemptuous look. She thought that Yun Chujio held a lot of weight in the palace mistress' heart. However, when she heard the palace mistress' contemptuous tone today, she immediately felt relieved. It seemed that the palace mistress was just pitying her. Yun Chujio glanced at her. I know. Although Yun Chujio said that she knew, she still ate her meal slowly and had no intention of getting up. Sulian wanted to urge her, but she had an idea and left with a cold smile. Chapter 1131 The Old Witch Who Squandered Little Ninth Junior Sister, that Sulian must have gone to complain. Hurry up and stop eating and chase after her. Feng Ming said worriedly. That's right, little ninth junior sister. If the palace master's wife finds out that you've been neglecting her, she'll definitely fly into a rage. Shixian also advised from the side. Class monitor, what Feng Ming and Shixian said makes sense. Hurry up and go. It's said that the palace master's wife's temper isn't too good. If she really blames you, it'll be bad. Class monitor, the hall master's wife is your big backer. If you really offend her, what will you do in the future? Yun Chujio sighed. Sometimes it was not a good thing to be too popular. She could only put down her chopsticks and get up to leave the canteen. Everyone saw that she was still walking slowly and kept urging her. Yun Chujio thought to herself, what do you know? No matter how attentive she was to that old witch, she would still find fault with her. Yun Chujio finally wandered into the Tianyuan Academy's reception hall. The Tianyuan Academy's reception hall had a large living room and a small living room. The large living room was semi-open, and the people outside the courtyard could also see the situation inside. The small living room was the kind of enclosed courtyard that isolated outsiders from prying eyes. The hall master's wife was in the large meeting hall, so Yun Chujio could see the crowd from afar. When the onlookers saw Yun Chujio coming, they could not help but look at her meaningfully. In fact, they really wanted to express their disdain and ridicule, but because of Yun Chujio's previous valiant performance, they could only hold it in and not reveal it, afraid that Yun Chujio would be concerned about it. Yun Chujio followed the path that everyone had given her and walked to the front of the crowd. When she saw the scene in front of her, Yun Chujio's heart felt as if it was a beeping dog. What the fuck, did this old witch bring all the treasures of the Temple of Immortals here? He was too cocky. She saw that the floor of the reception room was covered with a snow-white cashmere carpet. On top of it were all kinds of high-grade spirit tools and elixirs, not to mention the pastries and spirit fruits on the tables of the crowd. Yun Chujio was instantly enraged. The first thought that came to her mind was, this old hag of a prodigal family. These things will belong to me in the future. How can you give my things to others? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? No matter what, she had to ruin this matter. Even if she had to give them to them, she had to give them to her. If she were to give them to Xinlian and those flirtatious bitches, they would be completely stupid. Yun Chujio shifted her gaze away from the treasures and started to size up the people sitting in the guest hall. Although the palace mistress was a guest, she was seated in the master's seat due to her high status. Dean Huangfu and the 4 vice-deans were there to accompany her. Other than them, there were also some outstanding students from Tianyuan Academy. San Shu and Sulian were also seated. When everyone saw Yun Chujio enter, their gazes naturally fell on her. Sulian's face was filled with schadenfreude. She had already exaggerated Yun Chujio's actions and reported it to the palace mistress. Yun Chujio just wait to be reprimanded. As expected, the palace lord's wife looked at Yun Chujio with displeasure. Little trash, little Jiu girl, I heard that I sent someone to call you. You're very reluctant to come and see me. Do you have any objections to me? When everyone heard the palace lord's wife say this, they thought to themselves, Yun Chujio is going to be in trouble. This Yun Chujio is really a demon. The palace lord's wife is your biggest backer, yet you're still dawdling all the way here. Aren't you just looking for trouble? The palace master's wife is no longer protecting you. Let's see what you will do in the future. Chapter 1132 You're the one who's fucking old. Just as everyone was cursing in their hearts, they heard Yun Chujio scream. The palace master's wife was so scared that she trembled. Everyone was also so scared that they wondered if this Yun Chujio had gone crazy. Auntie. Is it really you? I thought that little bitch Sulian was lying to me. She said there's an old man looking for me. Oh my god. This is blatant slander. You look just like my biological sister. Why are you getting old? She has always been at odds with me, so I feel that she must be lying to me, my dear aunt. Why would I have any objections towards you? I simply love you to death. The palace lord's wife's face was filled with bewilderment. Aunt? Biological sister? Darling? Love her to death? The palace lord's wife felt that her brain wasn't enough. What kind of trick was this little trash playing? However, she also felt that ever since Bei Ming gave her that medicinal pill, her appearance had become even more beautiful. Bei Ming even said that the medicinal pill was given to her by the little trash. Bah! How was this possible? It must have been given to him by Bei Ming's master. In order for her to change her impression of the little trash, he lied and said that it was given by the little trash. Did he think that she was so easy to fool? Auntie, why aren't you speaking? Am I so excited that I can't speak when I see little Jiao? Are these gifts all for me? Auntie, you are really too good to little Jiao. No wonder ever since I arrived in the Tianyuan continent, everyone has said that Auntie, you are the noblest, kindest and most generous fairy. You are so considerate to an old friend of mine. It is really admirable. Yun Chujio said as she shamelessly picked the most valuable thing and put it into her storage ring. Damn it, this would all belong to her in the future. She couldn't let this prodigal old hag be so smug. Obviously, the palace mistress had never met such a self-deprecating and shameless person. For a moment she was stunned and didn't say anything. Yun Chujio took advantage of this time to collect most of the things on the ground. Only some food and spiritual fruits were left. Yun Chujio, are you shameless? Did the palace mistress say that she would give it to you? Quickly take out all the things. Yin Sulian couldn't hold it in any longer. The palace master's wife had said before that these things were to be rewarded to the students that she had taken good care of, and there was also a portion for her. Now she had asked Yun Chujio to keep them all, leaving only a pile of food. Yun Chujio glanced at her. Scram to the side. My aunt hasn't settled the score with you yet. You actually called my beautiful and peerless aunt an old fellow. What do you have in mind? Previously you tried to kill me without caring about my aunt's feelings. Now you're slandering my aunt. Could it be that your Yin family has some evil intentions towards the Temple of Immortals? Oh right, a few days ago you were so eager to flatter young Master Wuji. Could it be that you want to join the Blood Demon sect to deal with the Temple of Immortals? Yin Sulian was dumbfounded by Yun Chujio's scolding. She had just gone to deliver a freaking message. How did their Yin family become the most heinous sinner who wanted to go against the Temple of Immortals when it came to Yun Chujio? The onlookers were glad that they did not mock Yun Chujio. Damn it, this guy's mouth was too sharp. He had reversed the truth in such a short time. Not only did he earn a lot of money, he even brought Yin Sulian into the ditch. Yun Chujio, you're talking nonsense. When did I say that the palace master's wife is an old man? Yin Sulian said angrily with a red face. Yun Chujio pointed at Yin Sulian with one hand on her waist and scolded angrily. If you have the guts to say it, don't you have the guts to admit it? When you said it back then there were hundreds of people listening in the canteen. You didn't just say it once, you kept saying that she is an old woman, Pa. The palace master's wife looks younger than you, but you are the one who is fucking old. Shameless. Chapter 1133. You are the person who dotes on me the most. Yin Sulian's face flushed red as she said repeatedly in anger. No, you're spouting nonsense. Palace mistress, I didn't mean that. Although the palace mistress knew that Yun Chujio was pestering her, no matter who it was, they would still be unhappy if they were called old. Therefore she kept a straight face and did not say a word. Seeing this, Yin Xinlian quickly stood up from her seat. She bowed to the palace master's wife and said, Palace master's wife, the old man that Su Lian said just wanted to show her respect to you. She did not mean anything else. Please forgive her. The palace master's wife returned to her previous noble and elegant demeanor and waved her hand. Forget it. I know that you are all good children. It's not a big deal even if it's an unintentional mistake. Thank you very much, palace master's wife. Yin Xinlian gave Yin Sulian a look and the two of them returned to their seats after bowing. The palace master's wife glanced at Yun Chujio. Little Jiao, you need to change your tricky personality. It was just an unintentional mistake. How did it become so serious when it came to you? When can you change your little family's habits? When everyone saw that the palace mistress treated the Yin sisters and Yun Chujio in a completely different way, they came to a conclusion. It seemed that the palace mistress did not like Yun Chujio very much. The care she gave Yun Chujio before was probably only for the sake of Yun Chujio's parents. Yun Chujio cursed the palace mistress in her heart. Childish habits? 2e. How many good things do you have to waste on a prodigal old woman like you? It seemed that if she were to marry her in the future, the key to the treasure house would have to be in her hands. If she were to put it in the hands of the old witch, she would have to show off sooner or later. Auntie, I knew that you loved me the most in this world. As the saying goes, love is deep and deep. Every word of yours is full of love for me. Also, these pastries and spiritual fruits are my favorites. I didn't expect you to remember all of them. Don't worry, I know your good intentions. I won't take it to heart. Yun Chujio said. She shamelessly picked up a spirit fruit and started munching on it. When she saw that there was an empty seat beside her, she naturally sat down. The palace master's wife was almost blinded by Yun Chujio's thick skin. If it was an ordinary lady, wouldn't she be ashamed of herself after what she said earlier? She actually had the face to eat it. But under everyone's watchful eyes, she couldn't argue that she just didn't like you and that she just didn't like you, right? The palace lord's wife took a deep breath. Little Jiu girl, other things are fine, but those things I'm not giving them to you. I'm preparing to reward those students who perform well. Hurry up and take them out, don't be naughty. When everyone heard the palace master's wife's words, they immediately turned to look at Yun Chujio. No matter how thick-skinned you were, the palace master's wife had already said it so clearly. You should at least take out the things, right? And how can you be so stingy? Although these things aren't bad, they aren't worthy of your noble status at all. You want to reward them. Saying a few words of encouragement is a great honor to them. Hey Xinlian, let me ask you, do you want a spiritual weapon or do you want my aunt's encouragement? Of course, Xinlian wants the palace mistress' encouragement and affirmation. Xinlian was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Of course she wanted a spiritual weapon. But could she be honest with her words? Yun Chujio nodded. Then who you and all of you, do you want a spiritual weapon or my aunt's encouragement and affirmation? Yun Chujio casually pointed at the outstanding student representatives present. These people were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood, but they all said, naturally, they want to receive the hall master's wife's encouragement and affirmation. Chapter 1134 is here to stand up for Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio clapped her hands. And did you hear that? They are more willing to receive your encouragement and affirmation, so I will reluctantly accept those pieces of junk that they don't value. The hall master's wife felt a headache coming on. Initially she thought that the students of Tianyuan Academy were the favored ones of the heavens, but now that she looked at them, they were a bunch of fucking trash. Even more trash than the little trash. You guys are just going to let her lead you by the nose like that? Can't you think of a way to refute her? Dean Huangfu saw that the hall master's wife was so angry that her expression had changed. He hurriedly tried to smooth things over and said, Hall master's wife, what they said is right. It is our great honor for you to be able to come to our Tianyuan Academy. Why don't I get a few student representatives to showcase their results and let you appraise them? The hall master's wife knew that Dean Huangfu was only giving her a way out, so she could only nod her head. Alright, the students of Tianyuan Academy have always been outstanding. I believe that they will not disappoint me. These student representatives naturally wanted to leave a good impression on the hall master's wife. Although the spirit weapon had been shamelessly taken by Yun Chujio as her own, it was still extremely beneficial to be able to obtain the hall master's wife's affirmation. Thus, each and every one of them scrambled to demonstrate their specialties. Some performed fist techniques, some performed sword techniques, some performed materialization of spiritual energy, and some directly took out refined pills for the palace master's wife to look at. Almost all of the students performed their specialty moves. Only one person sat as steady as a mountain and ate non-stop. Fuck, she wasn't even full from lunch just now, so she could only eat a few snacks. The palace mistress was in no mood to watch those performances. She had been thinking about how she could make Yun Chujio lose face and how she could turn the tables. She was really angry today. Not only did she not achieve her goal of coming here, but she also brought along a lot of spirit weapons. It was simply a double loss for the mistress. When the palace mistress saw Yun Chujio eating and eating, she couldn't help but say, Little Jiu, the others have all performed their specialties. You've been in school for 3 months already. Have you learned how to materialize your spirit energy? When the crowd heard the palace mistress question, they all had complicated expressions on their faces. Could it be that they had misunderstood? In fact, the palace mistress had come to stand up for Yun Chujio? Otherwise, why would she ask Yun Chujio what she was best at? What this fellow was best at and what he was most proud of was the materialization of spiritual power. The palace mistress, however, misunderstood everyone's expressions. She was secretly delighted. Seemed that trash was indeed trash. Yun Chujio must not have learned how to materialize her spiritual power yet. Coincidentally, Yun Chujio had been busy cultivating these few days and did not return to the Long Wind Inn. Therefore, shopkeeper Chi did not know about Yun Chujio's heroic deeds, so the lady of the hall master naturally had no way of knowing. When Yun Chujio heard the lady of the hall master ask this question, an embarrassed expression appeared on her face. "Aunt, you still don't know me? I'm the most lazy person. I've been cultivating for 3 days and fishing for fish 2 days, and I've only learned about most of the materialization of spiritual power. It's better not to perform lest I embarrass you." Everyone wished they could strangle her to death. "Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning for lying so blatantly?" The level of materialization of spiritual power had crushed all the low-level materialization of spiritual power in a month's time, and you're still not satisfied? The palace master's wife did not know the twists and turns in this matter. When she heard Yun Chujio say this, she felt that Yun Chujio had not learned it at all. With a sullen face, she said, "You're really disappointing. You are already lucky enough to be able to enter the Tianyuan Academy, yet you still don't know how to improve? Show me immediately. I want to see how disappointing you are. It can't be that you haven't learned it yet, right?" Chapter 1135. Please don't laugh. When everyone heard what the palace mistress said, they felt that the plot had changed again. The palace mistress' words were full of disdain and disdain. Could it be that she had asked Yun Chujio to perform the materialization of spiritual power because she really did not know about Yun Chujio's abnormal talent? Yun Chujio put down the pastry in her hand, tilted her head and said in a coquettish tone, "Aunt, it's not impossible for me to perform. If you give me a reward, I'll perform. Otherwise, I won't be embarrassed." The palace master's wife's expression was very ugly. "You can just call me the palace master's wife. I don't dare to be your aunt. I'll just let you perform. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Auntie, how can you be so fierce? Sabsabi, auntie, you don't love me anymore. Didn't you say that from now on, you would treat me like your own daughter? You even said that I was your caring little cotton-padded jacket. How did my little cotton-padded jacket turn into a tattered shirt in just a few months?" Yun Chujio's tears fell one after another. The expression on her face was even more heartbroken. The palace master's wife felt that everyone was looking at her like they were looking at a stepmother. At this moment she regretted it 1,000 times. Why did her brain go crazy at that time, telling shopkeeper Chi that Yun Chujio was her old friend's daughter? This was the stupidest thing she had ever done in her life. She had thought that the little good-for-nothing would be suppressed by jealousy because of her identity, but why did she look more smug? Now almost everyone knew that the little rascal Yun Chujio was her old friend's daughter. If she denied it, it would be equivalent to slapping herself in the face, so she could only take it head-on. The palace mistress took a deep breath. "Little Gio girl, I'm just regretting my failure. I don't mean to despise you. Hurry up and show me. If your performance is good, I'll give you a reward." The palace mistress thought to herself, "This little trash probably doesn't know how to materialize spiritual power at all. Moreover, even if you do, I'll just say that it's not good enough and you can't force me to reward you." Yun Chujio smiled brightly. "I knew that aunt dotes on me the most. I'll perform for you now and I guarantee that you'll be satisfied." The hall master's wife was stunned by Yun Chujio's tearful smile. Why is this little girl getting more and more beautiful? It must be Bei Ming who secretly gave her the beauty pills again. No matter how beautiful she was still a little trash. "Oh right, auntie, if you perform well, what will you reward me with? I know that you have always been generous. Is it 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones or an immortal item?" Yun Chujio asked with a smile. The palace master's wife squeezed out a few words from between her teeth. 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones. Yun Chujio instantly felt as if she had been injected with stimulants. "All right. Auntie, in order to get your approval, I will definitely perform well." Everyone ridiculed Pui. "We think that you should be doing it for the spirit stones. You miser. Just now, you had already taken so many spirit tools for yourself, yet you are still not satisfied? How greedy." Yun Chujio walked to the open space outside the courtyard and said to the palace master's wife, Auntie, the thing that my spirit energy materializes is quite extraordinary. Please take a good look. The palace master's wife snorted coldly and picked up the teacup to take a sip of tea. Then she almost choked to death on the tea. What the hell did the little rascal materialize? Needle. It actually materialized into a needle. Although the palace master's wife felt that it was beneath her dignity to laugh, she couldn't help but say, "Ha, little nine, is the thing that you materialized into a needle? Are you preparing to be a tailor?" Everyone looked at the palace master's wife sympathetically. Please don't laugh. The more happy you laugh now, the more you will be slapped in the face. Chapter 1136. Een Sulian, who was blamed. Een Sulian felt that this was a good opportunity to make up for her mistakes. Hence she stood up and said, "Palace mistress, you may not know this, but although Yun Chujio is useless, her spiritual power materialization technique is actually, still passable." Een Sulian was really unwilling to praise Yun Chujio, so she could only say that it was passable. However, the palace mistress misunderstood and thought that Een Sulian was mocking Yun Chujio. Following her words, she said, "You're right. Although Little Nine's materialization is a little weird, she has finally learned the materialization technique. She's not too useless." Een Sulian saw that the palace mistress misunderstood her meaning and quickly said, "Palace mistress, I didn't mean that. I wanted to say, you don't have to say any more. I know that Little Nine's talent is limited and she doesn't want to improve. It's already not bad for her to be able to train like this." The palace mistress said with a little pride, "Little trash, let's see how you will have the face to ask me for a reward later." Materializing a needle was simply too funny. After the palace mistress finished speaking, she saw that everyone had a conflicted look on their faces. He was puzzled. Could it be that Little Trash had a good relationship with people? Why did everyone have such a conflicted look on their faces? Right at this moment, Yun Chujio's clear voice was heard. Explode. That small purple needle suddenly burst out with a dazzling light. It immediately exploded like fireworks. Everyone cried out in surprise. Although they knew that Yun Chujio's physical transformation spell attack power was over 1,000, they had never seen the appearance of the small purple needle exploding. Damn, this was too shocking. The palace mistress was so shocked that she almost stood up. How could such a small needle have such astonishing attack power? From the looks of it, it seemed to be more than 1,000 points. Didn't it already reach the level of an intermediate physical transformation skill? Auntie, how is it? Isn't it beautiful? When your birthday is over, you don't need to set off fireworks anymore. Just use the little 9 thunderbolt needles that I materialized to celebrate for you." Yun Chujio hopped into the house and said proudly. The palace mistress didn't say anything for a long time. She glared fiercely at Een Sulian. Trash. She couldn't even speak clearly. It made her say such embarrassing words just now. Een Sulian really wanted to bang her head against the wall. It's not that I didn't want to say it, but you didn't give me a chance to say it clearly. Seeing that the palace mistress was silent, Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Auntie, quickly give me 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, I performed so well, don't you want to give me more?" Although the palace mistress wanted to renege on her debt, this little trash was too freakish. After learning the materialization technique for 3 months, she had already crushed all the low-grade materialization techniques. She said that she wasn't satisfied, then she was just lying through her teeth. The palace mistress reluctantly transferred 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones to Yun Chujio and snorted coldly, "It's all right, continue to work hard." Yun Chujio made a small fortune and immediately smiled. "Auntie, don't worry, I'll definitely train hard, I won't embarrass you." The palace mistress felt that Yun Chujio's smile was too annoying. She wanted to make her lose face, but now she got 1,000,000 spirit stones. It was all because of that Een Sulian. Since she knew that Yun Chujio's materialization technique was so abnormal. Why didn't she stop her when she first said it? By the time the little trash was done with her performance, she had already jumped out. She still didn't understand what she was saying. What a trash. Chapter 1137. My aunt's taste is top-notch. Yun Chujio returned to her seat and crossed her legs as she continued to munch on the pastries. She felt that the palace mistress was actually not bad. She would come over every once in a while to give her some warmth. In a sense, she could be considered a good mother-in-law of Tianyuan. When the palace mistress saw that Yun Chujio was enjoying the pastries, her heart felt even more stifled. Her face was as heavy as water and the pressure on her entire being lowered. Everyone could see that the palace master's wife was unhappy, and they finally confirmed one thing in their hearts. The palace master's wife really did not like Yun Chujio, and the care she had given her before was probably due to her pride. Yin Xinlian's heart moved. Although Su Lian had messed things up a little earlier, this was a great opportunity. She could not only please the palace master's wife, but she could also suppress Yun Chujio. She had to seize this opportunity. Yin Xinlian stood up from her seat and bowed to the palace mistress. Palace mistress, Xinlian has done something wrong. Please forgive me. The palace mistress was stunned. What did you do wrong? Some time ago Yun Chujio and my sister had an argument. She forced my sister to kneel down in front of everyone to apologize to her. I tried to persuade her but she refused to budge. I impulsively issued a challenge to her. 5 months later we will compete on the life and death arena. After that I also regretted it. I felt that I was a little impulsive at the time, but I couldn't take back what I said. Please forgive me, palace mistress. Although life and death don't matter on the life and death arena. But I will definitely show mercy when the time comes. Yin Xinlian said with a face full of guilt. Before the palace mistress said anything, Yun Chujio threw a piece of cake at Yin Xinlian. Yin Xinlian never thought that Yun Chujio would attack her in front of the palace master's wife. The piece of cake immediately hit her hair bun, and her carefully combed hair turned into a mess. The piece of cake that Yun Chujio threw was still sticky and stuck stubbornly to Yin Xinlian's hair. Yin Xinlian screamed and jumped up, her face full of fear. She had no idea what had happened. Yin Xilian, who was at the side, cursed angrily, Yun Chujio, you bitch. What are you trying to do? You actually hit my sister in front of the palace master's wife. Just you wait, I won't forgive you. I'm going to cut you into pieces. The palace master's wife looked at Yin Xinlian, who had disheveled hair, and Yin Xilian, who had no manners at all, and frowned. The Yin sisters used to look smart, but why did they look so stupid today? Yun Chujio looked at Yin Xilian indifferently. Are you done cursing? Isn't it my turn to finish? I didn't hit Yin Xinlian. I just felt that she was talking nonsense and wanted to use a sticky cake to cover her mouth, but I didn't throw it accurately and threw it on her hair. Such a person was not worthy to be the representative of our Tianyuan Academy's students. It was simply too embarrassing. It was fine if she had embarrassed the members of your Yin family, but now that she was representing our Tianyuan Academy, I really couldn't stand it anymore. What do you mean by forcing Yin Xilian to admit her mistake? Back then, was it Yin Xilian who was so shameless that she insisted on competing with me in materialization of spiritual force? Even after losing the competition, she was still so shameless that she wanted to renege on her debt. What was even more shameless was that Yin Xinlian actually wanted to use a challenge order to threaten me. Humph. I'm representing my aunt's face. Why would I be afraid of you? Isn't it just a life and death arena? Let's meet again in 5 months. You don't have to say it nicely and still show mercy. In your heart you wish you could strangle me to death. Don't you find it disgusting to say such hypocritical words? When the time comes, let's have a showdown. The one who will lose will definitely be you, Yin Xinlian. Because my aunt's taste is top-notch. She once said that I'm a once-in-lifetime genius, one of the top 10 people on the prodigy roll in the future. You want to compete with me? I'll torture you to death. Chapter 1138. How could she be so arrogant and domineering at this moment? The palace mistress felt that it was a small matter for her to be tricked by Yun Chujio, this little piece of trash. It seemed that this little rascal still gave her some face. This guy's words were too harsh and shameless. Yin Xilian and Yin Xinlian wanted to interrupt a few times, but Yun Chujio did not give them the chance to speak at all. She blabbered on and accused her harshly. After saying that, she asked the palace mistress with a smile, "Auntie, don't you think I'm right? Do you have good taste?" The palace mistress gaped and did not know how to answer. Admit that she had good taste. Didn't that mean that she had admitted that she was the one who said those shameless words? Deny it. She felt that what the little trash said made sense. Her taste was indeed top-notch. The palace master's wife hesitated. Yun Chujio immediately said, "My aunt is too modest. She's too embarrassed to admit that she has good taste. Why are the two of you still standing here? You're embarrassing yourself." Hurry up and get out. Yin Xinlian and Yin Silian were so angry that they couldn't say anything. Everyone also had looks of disbelief on their faces. There was no one else who could say such things. Also, this Yun Chuju was really too daring. Wasn't she afraid that Dean Huangfu and the palace mistress would get angry at her for acting so recklessly? What kind of occasion was this? How could she be allowed to act recklessly? However, the crowd realized that not only did the palace mistress not say a word, even Dean Huangfu had a calm expression on his face, as if he hadn't seen anything. Deputy Dean Yin saw the Yin sisters being humiliated like this. He immediately shouted angrily, "Yun Chujio, you are really audacious. How can you be so rude in front of the palace master's wife? You have publicly beaten up a classmate and your words are insolent. According to the rules of the academy, you should be expelled." Yun Chujio shrugged nonchalantly, "I didn't hit her. I just wanted to feed her a sticky cake. Besides, when did I say insolent words? Did I say something bad? Deputy Dean Yin, even though your Yin family is powerful, you can't bully people like that, right? I have a backer. My aunt is still sitting there and you're twisting the facts to frame me. You really don't put my aunt in your eyes. No wonder Yin Sulian wanted to seduce young Master Wuji. So it was premeditated." Deputy Dean Yin flew into a rage out of humiliation. He turned around and bowed to the hall master's wife. "Hall master's wife, this Yun Chujio is mischievous and has repeatedly violated the rules of the academy. We did not punish her on account of you. However, she is becoming more and more outrageous now. She is so arrogant in front of you. You can imagine how arrogant and domineering she is usually. Today, I will expel her according to the rules of the academy. Please do not blame me." At this moment, the hall master's wife was still in a daze. Initially, she thought that Yun Chujio had ascended from the Tianxian land. Although she was known as the daughter of an old friend of hers, she would still live in fear and trepidation in the Tianyuan Academy. She was cowardly, but from the looks of it, not only was she not bullied, she was also living like a fish in water. Furthermore, she had repeatedly violated the academy's rules. Hadn't the Tianyuan Academy always been strict with rules? Why was she still jumping around here after repeatedly violating them? And was she still arrogant and despotic? How could a little trash of the first level of the spirit sect be arrogant and despotic? Wait a moment, shopkeeper Chi seemed to have mentioned this before, but she didn't pay too much attention to it at that time. She seemed to have said something about seniors and feathers. Deputy Dean Yin waited for a long time but still didn't see the palace mistress express her opinion. He frowned and coughed dryly. "Palace mistress, what do you think?" The palace mistress finally came back to her senses and asked indifferently, "You said that little ninth girl has repeatedly violated the academy's rules. Who can tell me how she has violated the academy's rules?" Chapter 1139 was indeed asking for a beating. Deputy Dean Yin had never thought that the wife of the hall master would have such a way of thinking. She only managed to say a few words. Yun Chujio said with disdain, "All right, I'll speak for myself. With your eloquence, I don't know how you managed to get into the position of Deputy Dean." Deputy Dean Yin was so angry that he almost fainted. He gritted his teeth and stood to the side. Yun Chujio had already figured it out long ago. After all, none of the Yin family members were good people. They all wanted her dead, so what was there for her to worry about? "You guys are courting death." "Auntie, actually, I didn't do anything overboard. Dean Huangfu and the rest are the most fair and honest people. If I really broke the rules of the academy, would they just sit back and do nothing? It's just that I accidentally offended the lackeys of a certain evil force, so I caused a little disturbance." Hey, race the thing. Yun Chujio recounted her heroic deeds. In her story, she was a hero who fought against evil forces. She was full of joy and excitement. At first, the palace master's wife was still indifferent, but as she listened, her mood fluctuated along with Yun Chujio's story. She felt that Yun Chujio did a good job. Those shameless people deserve to be taught a lesson. "And do you think these shameless people deserve a beating?" Yun Chujio suddenly asked. The palace master's wife was still immersed in Yun Chujio's narration, so she subconsciously answered, "They do deserve a beating." After saying that, the palace master's wife knew that she had fallen into Yun Chujio's trap again, but since she had already said it, she could only admit it. Yun Chujio immediately started to show off. "Did you hear that? My aunt said that those people deserved a beating, and the headmaster had never said that he would expel me. Deputy Dean Yin, why are you different from the rest? Could it be that those people are really your lackeys? The veins on Deputy Dean Yin's forehead were popping up. If it were not for the fact that he had too many scruples in the academy, he would have slapped Yun Chujio to death. Even so, he still released his pressure on Yun Chujio. He wanted to make her suffer a little. But what puzzled him was that Yun Chujio acted as if nothing had happened and bared her teeth at him. Yun Chujio thought to herself, I'm not even afraid of the pressure of heavenly thunder. Why would I be afraid of an old man like you? Deputy Dean Yin took a deep breath. Let's not talk about the past for now. What about the fact that you beat up Xinlian today? Didn't I already say that? I didn't beat her up. I just wanted to feed her a sticky cake so that she wouldn't embarrass herself. I was doing it for her own good. How did it turn into beating her up? Senior Qin, Senior Baili, tell me, did I beat up Xinlian? Yun Chujio pointed at Qin Mingzhu and Baili Yan. These two people were gloating over her misfortune. Xinlian had lost her honor this time. The palace master's wife's impression of her had probably plummeted. If she still wanted to snatch her honor, she could dream on. When they suddenly heard Yun Chujio ask them, the two of them almost blurted out at the same time, no. Hearing the two of them say this, Deputy Dean Yin's expression became even more unsightly. However, he couldn't do anything to Qin Mingzhu and Baili Yan. Although the Yin family was powerful, the Gui Yuan sect and Medicine King Valley weren't given to them for free. Therefore, the two of them didn't put Deputy Dean Yin in their eyes at all. Deputy Dean Yin, my aunt and two senior sisters have proven that I did not beat Xinlian up. You should believe me this time, right? It's already noon. You haven't eaten yet, right? Come, I'll treat you to a meal at the canteen. Yun Chujio, this fellow, did not know what it meant to be disliked. She immediately moved to the side of the palace master's wife with a look of deep admiration. Chapter 1140 must have been muddled with anger, although the palace mistress really wanted to slap Yun Chujio away, but in order to maintain her noble temperament, she could only suppress her displeasure and say, I'm not hungry. I'd better look around. After all, I was also a student of Tianyuan Academy back then. And then I'll be your guide. I'm not bragging, but I've visited Tianyuan Academy all over. There's nothing I don't know. Yun Chujio instantly turned into a little guide and dragged the palace mistress by her sleeve and left. The palace mistress felt that the anger in her heart had already reached her throat. She tried her best to recite silently her temperament and her temperament. Only then did she resist the urge to kick Yun Chujio, who was constantly chattering away. Just when the palace mistress felt that she was about to explode, Yun Chujio actually let go of the palace mistress' sleeve. She said to Qin Mingzhu and Baili Yan, Senior sisters, I was bragging just now. I'm just a first-year freshman. How could I be as familiar with the academy as you two? It's better for you to introduce me to my auntie. Qin Mingzhu and Baili Yan were just resentful that Yun Chujio had occupied all of the hall master's wife's attention. They did not expect that Yun Chujio would actually give them such a good opportunity. Immediately, the resentment in their hearts disappeared. They gratefully nodded at Yun Chujio and then accompanied the hall master's wife on both sides to begin the tour of Tianyuan Academy. Yun Chujio, on the other hand, had her hands behind her back. She raised her neck and followed behind the hall master's wife. She looked like a fox pretending to be a tiger. Occasionally, she would interject a few words. In order to express their gratitude to Yun Chujio, Qin Mingzhu and Baili Yan did not mind. They would even go along with what she said. The spectators who did not know the truth immediately thought that if even Qin Mingzhu and Baili Yan were trying to curry favor with Yun Chujio, it meant that Yun Chujio must have been doted on by the palace master's wife. She did not even bother to let Yun Chujio explain. She must have been afraid that she would be too tired. Dean Huangfu was half a step behind the palace master's wife to show his respect. His heart was like a kitten scratching at it. It was strange. From the looks of it, His Excellency seemed to be a couple with Yun Chujio. Young Master Wuji also liked this Yun Chujio. However, he saw that the hall master's wife did not seem to like Yun Chujio very much. So why did she still come to the academy to visit her? He did not know that the hall master's wife had originally come to see Yun Chujio as a joke. He did not expect that although Yun Chujio's spiritual power was the weakest, she was doing well in the Tianyuan Academy. Moreover, she had become the class monitor of the Huang class and everyone responded to her. The most infuriating thing was that the Yin sister seemed to be quite smart in the past, but in the end they were brought into the gutter by Yun Chuju with just a few words. They were really too stupid. The dean's wife listened to Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yan's explanation absent-mindedly. She was very angry in her heart. Not only did she not see the little trash as a joke, so many spirit tools and 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones were also taken by the little rascal. She was really angered to death. However, Yin Xinlian said that in 5 months' time when she went on the life and death arena, how could the little trash who was only at the first level of the spirit sect defeat Yin Xinlian who was at the first level of the spirit saint realm? It was most likely a disaster. When the hall master's wife thought of this, she felt a little unbearable in her heart. Then she was shocked in her heart. What happened to her? Wasn't it good that the little trash died? Moreover, it was entirely her own doing. It had nothing to do with her. She must have been confused by the little trash. At this moment, Yun Chujio, who was following behind, suddenly remembered something very important. Damn it, she had come out in such a hurry just now. There were still many pastries and spiritual fruits left in the living room, so they could all be stored in her storage ring. Those were all her family's things. This old witch was really a prodigal. Chapter 1141 couldn't be wasted at all. The hall master's wife paid a symbolic visit to a few places before bidding her farewell. Dean Huangfu tried to persuade her to stay, but when he saw that the hall master's wife had already made up her mind, he gave up. Everyone escorted the hall master's wife to the main entrance of the Tianyuan Academy. The hall master's wife boarded her flying spirit tool. Yun Chujio waved her claws and shouted, "Auntie, goodbye. I'll miss you. I love you." The hall master's wife staggered. This little lunatic was really too shameless. The hall master's wife did not know what she was thinking either. She turned her head and said to Yun Chujio with a straight face, "Cultivate well so that you won't be unable to come down from the life and death arena." Yun Chujio was stunned. A series of words suddenly flashed through her mind. The prodigal son would not change for the gold when he returned, and the sincerity would open up the gold and stone. Where there was a will, there would be a way. There was nothing difficult in the world, but only those who had a heart would do it. Damn it, was the old witch concerned about her? Wasn't this too shocking? Yun Chujio was about to express her excitement when the hall master's wife's flying spirit tool had already flown far away. Yun Chujio waved her claws symbolically, and then quickly rushed into Tianyuan Academy, sprinting all the way. Everyone looked puzzled. Was Yun Chujio feeling anxious internally? Why did she run so fast? Yun Chujio ran all the way to the living room. The odd job workers in the academy did not receive any notice, so they did not clean up. This guy put all the spirit fruits and pastries into his storage ring. He did not even let go of the snow cashmere carpet on the ground. Curly Ba also put it into his storage ring. Dean Huangfu and the others who arrived later twitched their eyes. There was no one else who was so greedy. Yun Chujio was not embarrassed at all when she was caught in the act. She even boasted shamelessly, "It's not right to waste money. I've always had the virtue of being frugal since I was young." Everyone. When Yun Chujio was so beautiful, she felt that the sky was getting dark. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be that she was going to be struck again? When she came out of the room, she raised her head and saw that dark clouds had indeed started to gather. The sky quickly darkened, and the pressure of the clouds also became more and more severe. Wu Yun's face twitched. Yun Chujio's face immediately twitched. "Dean, it looks like I'm going to be struck by lightning again. You have to help me or else my life will be over." Dean Huangfu naturally understood the hidden meaning in Yun Chujio's words, so he said, "Come to my courtyard. I'll help you carry a few strikes." Dean Huangfu then said to the others, "Right, the power of the heavenly lightning is too great. To prevent accidents, don't go near my courtyard." Ever since the last time they saw Deputy Dean Yin being struck by the heavenly lightning, they didn't dare to get too close without Dean Huangfu's permission. They were afraid that they would also be accidentally injured by the unreliable heavenly lightning. Although Deputy Dean Yin was severely struck last time, he still felt that there was something fishy going on, so he stood not far away from Dean Huangfu's courtyard to watch. Dean Huangfu brought Yun Chujio into the courtyard and activated the isolation array. Yun Chujio looked at the restored ground and said apologetically, "Dean, I'm really sorry. I'm afraid your courtyard will suffer again today." Dean Huangfu smiled bitterly. "As long as you don't destroy my house." Although you have a special constitution, it's still better to be careful. Yun Chujio nodded. She said indifferently, Dean, don't worry. Although this heavenly thunder seems to be quite powerful, it's actually nothing much. By the way, didn't the roasted spirit potato last time taste very good? I'll roast a few more for you today to compensate for the loss of your courtyard. Chapter 1142. Little 9 Roasted Spirit Potatoes. Dean Huangfu's face stiffened as he thought to himself, as the esteemed Dean, I am only worth a few roasted spirit potatoes. Alright, the taste of the heavenly lightning roasted spirit potatoes is quite delicious. At this moment the sky turned even darker. Fortunately, the people of the Tianyuan Academy already had the experience from last time and knew that the heavenly lightning was here to strike Yun Chujio, so they didn't panic too much. However, the hall master's wife on the flying spirit tool didn't know. Not long after they flew out, they discovered several dark clouds gathering in the direction of the Tianyuan Academy. Their hearts were shocked. What was going on? Could it be that a unique treasure had appeared? Or a strange beast had appeared? Or could it be that these heavenly lightning were sent by the Tiandao to kill the little trash? Such a thick layer of clouds contained at least several hundred heavenly lightning bolts. The little trash was probably going to die. Although that little good-for-nothing was not likable, it was still a pity for her to die just like that. Forget it. No one could save the person that Tiandao wanted to kill. She could only blame her own bad luck. Thinking of this, the lady of the hall master took out the voice transmission talisman. Old Chi, this heavenly lightning bolt is most likely to strike Yun Chujio. He definitely won't survive. After this, you should inquire about the news and help deal with the aftermath. After receiving the voice transmission talisman from the lady of the hall master, shopkeeper Chi started to have some doubts in his heart. Could it be that the lady of the hall master didn't know that the heavenly lightning didn't strike Yun Chujio to death last time? Forget it, he wasn't too clear about what happened last time either. It would be better to wait for this incident to be over before reporting to the lady of the hall master. Boom. Boom. At this moment, several heavenly lightning bolts had already struck down towards Yun Chujio. This time Wu Yun was the same Wu Yun who had struck Yun Chujio previously. After learning from the previous experience, he had struck Yun Chujio fiercely, as if he wouldn't stop until Yun Chujio was dead. Dean Huangfu's brows were tightly knitted. Although he had already witnessed Yun Chujio's abnormal physique last time, the lightning this time was clearly more powerful than the previous one. Could she withstand it? On the other hand, Yun Chujio looked carefree. There was a handkerchief tied to her head and she kept picking up a few pieces of spiritual potatoes. She even muttered, this spiritual potato is too late. It's a little too hot. This one is roasted just right. The fragrance has already come out. Dean Huangfu heard Yun Chujio's muttering in the midst of the thunder, and he immediately felt that his worries were unnecessary. This girl was really bold. No wonder she dared to go against Dean Haoyu. She wasn't even afraid of the heavenly thunder, so why should she be afraid of him? This little girl's future achievements would definitely not be inferior to that of His Excellency and young Master Wuji. That old fellow in the library would not let a little girl copy books for no reason. He was afraid that she had other plans. Dean Huangfu suddenly thought of a problem. The heavenly thunder would not strike Yun Chujio for no reason. Could it be that it struck her because she had broken through? Dean Huangfu shook his head again. It shouldn't be. Her current spiritual power was still at the first level of the spirit sect. If she had broken through, why didn't her spiritual power level change? Besides, who would break through once every 2 months? That was too abnormal. Then why did the heavenly lightning strike her so frequently? Was it just to kill her in a hurry? Just as Dean Huangfu was thinking about it, he saw Yun Chujio fly out of the pit while the heavenly lightning struck. She threw a few roasted spirit potatoes to him and said, Dean, they'll get struck in another pit so that I can hide from the others later. Dean Huangfu took the roasted spirit potatoes with a dumbfounded look on his face. Then he watched Yun Chujio get struck by lightning while eating the roasted spirit potatoes. Chapter 1143 Roasting Spiritual Potatoes. After more than 2 hours, other than 2 deep pits on the ground, Yun Chujio was not only unharmed, but she had also roasted a pile of spiritual potatoes. Wu Yun in the sky was trembling with anger. This was too much. This was too much. How could such a perverted little monster appear in the Tianyuan continent? Last time they did not kill her and thought that they had underestimated their enemy. However, this time they had already used all their strength. Why was it that they still could not kill her? Wu Yun was naturally unwilling to give up, and lightning struck down one after another. The 3 malefic stars in Yun Chujia's body hadn't eaten their fill last time, and now they were letting out Huan Er's swallowing of the lightning spiritual force that was continuously surging into Yun Chujia's body. The black bead was especially like a black hole that couldn't be filled. It always looked like it was starving to death. Although the lightning spiritual force was very violent, Yun Chujia's tendons and meridians had already become very strong after several times of washing. Therefore, although these lightning strikes were fierce and earth-shattering to Yun Chujio, it was just a mobile power source to replenish the lightning spiritual force. 6 hours had passed, but Yun Chujio was still unharmed. This fellow felt that roasting the spiritual potato was not difficult anymore. He took out a snow rabbit and started to roast it. He used his body to block the heat and had a great time. Wu Yun was so angry that he was about to cry. Wu Wu the baby had never met such a pervert. He was so angry that he was going to die. Deputy Dean Yin, who was standing outside the courtyard, initially stood quite far away. However, when he saw that there was nothing much going on and he was really curious about what was happening in the courtyard, he subconsciously got closer and closer to the courtyard. Wu Yun, who was in the sky, clearly had a good memory. Damn it, it was this person who had insisted on staying so close to the child that he owed him. He was accidentally struck by them and in the end they were all punished. Today he shamelessly came forward again. This was a blatant provocation. Damn it, if we can't kill the little pervert, why can't we kill you? Deputy Dean Yin was stretching his neck to look into the courtyard when several bolts of heavenly lightning struck down on him. Deputy Dean Yin's mood was like that of a mad dog. Was there something wrong with these heavenly lightning bolts? Why are they always striking him? Deputy Dean Yin had learned his lesson from last time. After using his spiritual energy barrier to block the lightning bolts, he ran all the way. In any case, these lightning bolts were coming for Yun Chujio. As he was a little further away from the courtyard, he reckoned that they wouldn't chase after him anymore. Clearly, Deputy Dean Yin had underestimated the wrath of the lightning bolts. A piece of dark cloud chased closely behind him. It struck Deputy Dean Yin until he vomited blood and fell to the ground. Only then did it float back to the top of Dean Huangfu's courtyard. The dark clouds discussed among themselves. In any case, they wouldn't be able to kill this little pervert today. Let's call it a day. Yun Chujio saw that the dark clouds had stopped striking and looked like they were going to float away. She hurriedly shouted, "Hey, don't go. Just strike a little longer." Wu Yun was so angry that he was trembling. This was the first time he had met someone who asked them to strike a little longer. This person wasn't even human. He was just a pervert. I'll sing a song for you guys. Specially written for you guys. You guys will be very touched after listening to my song. After you're done, you can stay for a while longer. You're the most beautiful cloud in the sky. You asked me to keep you with all my heart. You're the most beautiful cloud in my heart. Why didn't I let you stay? After listening to Yun Chujia's song, not only did Wu Yun not stay, she ran even faster. Damn it, this little pervert must be up to no good. Why did she keep them here? Who knows, there might still be some bad tricks waiting for us. They should just run away quickly. The next mission to split her up should be up to them. They would never want to see this little pervert again. Chapter 1144. Leaning against a big tree to enjoy the shade, Dean Huangfu held the roasted spiritual potato in his hand with a dumbfounded look on his face. Why was it sung? Why did the dark clouds look like they were fleeing in panic? Was it the other way around? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be Yun Chujio who was afraid of the dark clouds. Why did he feel that it was Wu Yun who was afraid of Yun Chujio now? It was chaos. It was all chaotic. Just as Dean Huangfu was in a daze, he heard Yun Chujio sigh and say, "Sigh. Why did you leave just like that? These irresponsible heavenly lightning bolts. Why don't you let me break through before leaving?" Dean Huangfu stood up immediately. "What did you say? Are you saying that you're going to break through?" Yun Chujio glanced at Dean Huangfu. "Yes, if I wasn't going to break through, why would these heavenly lightning bolts strike me?" Dean Huangfu felt that Yun Chujio was looking at him as if he was an idiot. Yun Chujio continued, I've only broken through one level. Are you kidding me? I've been looking forward to this for a long time, but you only let me break through one level. This is too much. A bad review. I must get a bad review. Dean Huangfu felt that his brain wasn't enough. What did she mean by only breaking through one level? Normally, breaking through one layer meant breaking through one layer, right? From what you said, you would only be satisfied if you broke through several layers at once. Moreover, you said that you had broken through, so why did I look at your spirit energy level and see that it was still at the first layer of the spirit sect? That Yun Chuju, you said that you only broke through one layer? Why is your spirit energy level still at the first layer of the spirit sect? Dean Huangfu couldn't hold it in any longer. Yun Chuju was a shrewd person. Her words just now seemed to say that she was blabbering, but in reality she was doing it on purpose. After such a long period of contact, she felt that Dean Huangfu wasn't a bad person. If she wanted to gain a foothold in the Tianyuan Academy and be able to contend with Deputy Dean Yin, she could only do so by obtaining Dean Huangfu's protection. If she wanted to obtain Dean Huangfu's protection, she first had to display her value and strength. Her value had already been more or less displayed. Firstly, there was a conflict between Dean Huangfu and Deputy Dean Yin. Dean Huangfu had already used her hands to get rid of several of Deputy Dean Yin's lackeys. Secondly, the performance of the pretty boy and black chicken head the last time, Dean Huangfu would definitely reevaluate her value. Now she had to properly display her strength and once again consolidate the degree of importance he placed on her. In the future it would be easier for her to rely on a big tree for shade. Other than being thick-skinned, Yun Chujia's biggest advantage was that she was able to climb up smoothly. In her previous life she had also relied on these two methods to climb up to the position of a top agent in the organization. In the words of her good friend Yun Qi, she had simply tricked her into becoming a top agent. After Yun Chujio had made up her mind, she began to adjust her spiritual power level. Dean Huangfu watched as Yun Chujia's spiritual power level slowly rose from the first level of the spirit sect all the way to the fourth level of the spirit sect. Dean Huangfu rubbed his eyes and pinched himself again. It hurt so much that he grinned. It seemed like it was true. But it was strange. How could he not see that Yun Chujio was hiding her cultivation with his cultivation? Could it be that she had some immortal artifact that hid her cultivation? Dean, to be honest, my body is a little special. If I didn't wear this hidden spirit ring, I wouldn't have any spiritual power fluctuations on me. In the fourth round of the entrance exam, it was because I didn't have any spiritual power fluctuations on me that I successfully obtained the jade token. Yun Chujio knew that in order to gain the trust of others, she had to show her sincerity. Unintentionally revealing her trump card was the greatest sincerity. Cough cough. Fortunately, she had enough trump cards, so there was no harm in revealing one or two of them. There was such a good place in chapter 1145 in order to prove that what she said was true. Yun Chujio put away the hidden spirit ring. As expected, there was no spiritual energy fluctuation on her body at all. Dean Huangfu couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. He had never heard that the heavenly thunder spirit root had such a strange attribute. This Yun Chujia's physique was very special. Wait, that wasn't right. The fourth level of the spirit sect? She had entered the school at the first level of the spirit sect. Didn't that mean that she had risen 2 levels after being struck by lightning last time? No wonder she had scolded the heavenly lightning for being irresponsible just now. Turned out that this guy had risen 2 levels in one go? That Yun Chujio, you rose 2 levels after being struck by lightning last time? That's right. It's all because of this damn heavenly lightning being irresponsible. If it had been struck for another 4 hours, perhaps I would have risen another level. How detestable. Yun Chujio puffed her cheeks and said angrily. Dean Huangfu only had one thought in his mind at this moment. You really aren't satisfied. What else do you want to do if you want to level up in 2 months? Yun Chujio counted with her fingers and said, if we calculate according to the calculation of 2 levels in 2 months, when that little bitch Yin Xinlian and I are on the life and death arena, I will almost be able to break through to the first level of the Spirit Saint realm. This is great. This damn heavenly lightning has really set me up. I have to think of another way to speed up my level up. Dean Huangfu thought that he was knowledgeable, but he still felt that his brain was not enough when he met a weirdo like Yun Chujio. He asked almost subconsciously, what other way are you going to think of? Yun Chujio giggled. Dean, I was just about to ask you for advice. You are knowledgeable and knowledgeable. Help me think of a way. You can't just watch me go to the life and death arena to die, right? Dean Huangfu felt that he really owed his son. Why would he ask such a stupid question? It was obvious that this fellow was made of sticky candy. He might not be able to get rid of it once it was stuck to him. How can there be a shortcut to cultivation? If you advance too quickly and your foundation is unstable, you will have inner demons. You should just focus on your cultivation. As for the life and death platform, if it really doesn't work, you can just think of a way to delay it. After all, you have plenty of bad ideas, Dean Huangfu said unhappily. Dean, you've eaten quite a few roasted spiritual potatoes of mine. Are you just going to brush me off like that? It's really too heartbreaking. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she sat down on the ground and wiped her tears away. This fellow was cursing in his heart. You old fox, I don't believe that you have no idea what to do. When Yun Chujio cried like that, Dean Huangfu felt like he was an unpardonable evil person. He gritted his teeth and said, Enough. Stop crying. If you can endure the pain, it's not impossible. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up, and the fellow immediately broke into a smile. Isn't it just a little pain? Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Dean, please tell me. What is the solution? If you want to break through quickly in a short period of time, you have to break through your own limits. Tianyuan Academy has a trial tower, and the demon beasts and environment inside are all illusory formations. Although they won't cause real harm to people, the various kinds of pain are no different from real feelings. Yun Chujio immediately jumped up from the ground. There is such a good place in our academy. Why didn't I know about it? Dean Huangfu glanced at her. Don't be happy too early. Because the demonic beasts inside are extremely savage and the environment is extremely harsh, only spirit saints would dare to enter the first level. Furthermore, without the spirit energy of the fourth level of the spirit saint realm, it is impossible for one to pass the first level. It is just to increase one's actual combat experience. Chapter 1146. I am the most low-key. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. So what if it's dangerous? I won't really lose my life anyway. Where is this trial tower? You specially gave me 8 to 10 days of leave. I'll go and challenge it. The trial tower is behind the Tianyuan Academy's library. It just so happens that it's closed tomorrow. You should go first. If you still don't come out in 3 days, it'll help you ask for leave from your teacher. Dean Huangfu said. 10 days or 8 days. This Yun Chujio really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. With her level of spiritual power, she probably couldn't even last a quarter of an hour. However, he had better not tell her the truth so that she wouldn't pester him again. He had to get rid of this little rascal first. Although Yun Chujio was shrewd, she still couldn't see through the old fox's thoughts. She immediately expressed her gratitude. Dean Huangfu touched his nose guiltily. He hurriedly changed the topic. Well, since Wu Yun has already drifted away, I'll open the isolation array. The way I said it is the same as last time. Alright, it seems that a piece of Wu Yun has drifted away just now. I don't know which unlucky person it struck. Dean, please wait a moment. I'll transfer my spirit energy back to the first level of the spirit sect before you open the isolation array. I'm a person who keeps a low profile the most. It's best not to agitate others. Yun Chujio said with a smile. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched. Forget it. Are you pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger to cheat others? Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array while cursing in his heart. At this time, the surrounding people also gathered around. Dean Huangfu asked, who was struck by the heavenly lightning just now? Deputy Dean Jiang held back his laughter and said, Dean, the heavenly lightning struck Deputy Dean Yin just now. Look, isn't he meditating over there? Dean Huangfu looked in the direction where Deputy Dean Jiang was pointing and saw that Deputy Dean Yin was seriously injured again. His clothes were covered in blood and he was recuperating. Dean Huangfu couldn't help but gloat in his heart. This Yun Chujio was really Yin Haoyu's nemesis. The heavenly lightning was supposed to strike her, but why did it strike Yin Haoyu every time? It was really funny. Yun Chujio also saw Yin Haoyu's miserable state. She said in surprise, "Io, what's going on? Isn't the heavenly lightning supposed to strike me? Why does it strike Deputy Dean Yin every time? Could it be that he did something bad so the heavenly lightning conveniently punished him on behalf of the heavens?" Although Deputy Dean Een was seriously injured, his hearing was still pretty good. He heard Yun Chujio's words clearly and was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. Yun Chujio, you bitch. Initially he wanted to let Xinlian kill you on the life and death arena, but you provoked him again and again. He really couldn't stand it anymore. I'll find an opportunity to kill you. Deputy Dean Een spat out blood again. Is he going to die? This person can't do anything shameful. God's eyes are bright and clear. He can take care of the evil people at the same time. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Deputy Dean Een was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted on the ground. Xinlian and the others quickly fed Deputy Dean Een pills and finally woke him up. The first thing Deputy Dean Een said when he woke up was, "Help me back to my courtyard immediately." He felt that if he was still here he would definitely be angered by Yun Chujio until he vomited blood again. Stupid girl, just you wait, I won't forgive you. The hearts of the bystanders trembled. Damn it, this Yun Chujio could make Deputy Dean Een so angry just by talking? It was better for them to not provoke her in the future. Although her spiritual power was useless, her words were too overbearing. They could not afford to offend her and could only hide. Chapter 1147. Yun Chujio sneaked in the next morning. Yun Chujio hopped out of the dormitory. After bypassing the library, there was indeed a pitch-black 9-story pagoda standing there. At the door was a teacher who was yawning and dozing off. "Teacher, I want to enter the trial tower. How does it work?" The teacher sized up Yun Chujio, thinking that he had heard wrong. "What did you say?" "I want to quickly raise my cultivation level. The dean has asked me to enter the trial tower. Please tell me how to enter the trial tower." "You want to enter the trial tower? Could it be that you are making fun of me early in the morning? Only a student with the cultivation level of a spirit saint would dare to try this trial tower. Why are you, a first-level spirit sect student, causing trouble? Go and stay where you are," the teacher said impatiently. Yun Chujio explained for a while more, but the teacher still refused to give in. He thought that Yun Chujio was messing around. A first-level spirit sect student entering the trial tower? This was simply messing around. Just as Yun Chujio was at her wits' end, more and more senior students came over to enter the trial tower. They were also stunned when they saw Yun Chujio. What was this Yun Chujio doing here in the trial tower? Those students each paid 10 high-grade spirit stones, and the teacher handed each of them a jade token. Those students placed the jade token in the groove on the trial tower's door, and the trial tower's door opened. Yun Chujio was very curious, so she stood at the trial tower's door and looked inside, wanting to see what was inside. No one expected that there was a powerful suction force inside the trial tower, and Yun Chujio was forcefully sucked in. "Hey, why did you sneak in?" The teacher didn't notice it before. When he raised his head, he saw Yun Chujio rush in. He thought that Yun Chujio had snuck in by herself. Just as he was about to stop her, it was too late. The trial tower's door closed with a bang. The teacher was so anxious that he was hopping around. Cold sweat immediately broke out on his forehead. He never expected that Yun Chujio would be so daring to sneak in. What should he do? The teacher had no choice but to take out his identity jade token and send a message to Deputy Dean Xiao. Not long after, Deputy Dean Xiao, Dean Huangfu and the others all came. What's going on? Yun Chujio entered the trial tower without permission? Deputy Dean Xiao asked anxiously. The teacher's forehead was covered in cold sweat. An hour ago, Yun Chujio said that she wanted to enter the trial tower. I think she must be messing around. Why would a first-level spirit sect enter the trial tower? I didn't expect that a few senior students would enter the trial tower after receiving the jade tokens. Yun Chujio actually sneaked in with them. By the time I wanted to stop her, it was already too late. Instructor Xiao immediately said unhappily, as the instructor guarding the trial tower, "How could you be so careless? The trial tower was very dangerous. If there was no passage jade token, she wouldn't be able to come out. Wouldn't Yun Chujio have to die and live countless times in there?" Dean Huangfu let out a long sigh. "This is all my fault. If I hadn't told her that the trial tower could help her break through her cultivation bottleneck, she wouldn't have come to this trial tower. What should we do? The students who enter are all in different places. There's no way to know what's going on inside. Besides, unless the trial tower is destroyed, There's no way for her to come out. Even if we don't talk about anything else, she'll starve to death. Deputy Dean Jiang was also frowning. Chapter 1148. Someone had broken into the second level. The news of Yun Chujio sneaking into the trial tower quickly spread throughout the Tianyuan Academy. Although it was Sun Xiu, many people still knew that Yun Chujio had sneaked into the trial tower. Some people were extremely worried, some people had the mentality of watching a show, while others were gloating over Yun Chujio's misfortune. Tiskei, this Yun Chujio relied on her sharp tongue to stir up trouble. Let's see what she will do this time. What to do? She will probably die inside. This trial tower is an ancient divine artifact. Even His Excellency and young Master Wuji cannot break it. Yun Chujio will never be able to come out. When the Yin sisters heard the news, they were extremely excited. Sister, this time Yun Chujio is dead for sure. She dared to sneak into the trial tower without knowing clearly. She is really courting death. Yin Sulian gloated. Yin Xinlian sneered. Ancient. This Yun Chujio always thought that she was smart. This time she was just waiting to spend the rest of her life in the trial tower. Moreover, she was constantly bitten to death by demonic beasts. She originally wanted to kill her on the life and death arena. It was really too easy for her. This is called retribution. Sister, Yun Chujio has already been eliminated. Now you have to deal with Qin Mingzhu and Bai Liyan, the two bitches. Previously, when the palace master's wife came, they were all on Yun Chujio's side. Yin Sulian gnashed her teeth and said, the two of them are different from Yun Chujio. Their family background is on par with ours. We have to take it slowly. Let's go and tell this good news to fourth grandfather. He will definitely be very happy. After the Yin sisters told Deputy Dean Yin about Yun Chujio sneaking into the trial tower, Deputy Dean Yin felt that half of his injuries had healed. This smelly girl was really courting death. Such a way of dying was simply too miserable. To be bitten to death repeatedly by demon beasts, then resurrected and then bitten to death again was truly retribution. Dean Huangfu's intestines were turning green with regret at this moment. It was already useless to blame the tutor who was guarding the trial tower. Moreover, Yun Chujio took up the majority of the responsibility. This fellow was an unruly person. How could he be so mischievous to actually barge in? Dean Huangfu felt that the dumbest thing he had done was to only tell Yun Chujio about the trial tower and not tell her that she had to rely on the jade token to enter before she could come out. Dean Huangfu thought of the importance his esteemed self and young Master Wuji placed on Yun Chujio and frowned even more. If these two great Buddhas were to find out about this matter, it was likely that there would be a huge commotion. However, the matter was so important that Dean Huangfu had no choice but to privately send people to send letters to Di Baiming and Shui Wuji. Dean Huangfu was sighing and frowning when he heard the tutor who was guarding the trial tower exclaim, "Heavens! Someone has reached the second level." Dean Huangfu raised his head and saw that the second level of the trial tower had indeed lit up. However, what was so strange about it? Although the first level of the Spirit Saint realm could not reach the second level, those above the fourth level of the Spirit Saint realm could reach the second level. Deputy Dean Xiao also glared at the instructor unhappily. "What are you shouting for? What's so strange about entering the second level? It's not like you've reached the sixth level." "No, none of the students who entered today have exceeded the fourth level of the Holy Spirit realm," the teacher mumbled. In his heart he hated Yun Chujio to the core. "Why did you sneak in for no reason? You've really implicated me." Although everyone felt that it was a small piece of news that someone had skipped a level and entered the second level, it was nothing compared to Yun Chujio's matter, so no one paid too much attention to it. Chapter 1149. Was Yun Chujio just as everyone was about to disperse? The people in the trial tower came out one after another. After all, the process of dying in there was too torturous. They would not be able to hold on for more than 4 hours. After they came out and heard about Yun Chujio's matter, they also discussed animatedly. "We were all separated when we were teleported in, so we did not have the chance to meet each other. Otherwise we could have brought Yun Chujio out. Who asked her to sneak in by herself? She deserved it. Yeah, this Yun Chujio is too bold. This time she's completely finished. She won't be able to come out of the trial tower for the rest of her life." I guess she will be trapped in the first level of the trial tower for the rest of her life. After all, it's a fool's dream for her to break through to the second level with her spiritual power level. At this moment, the teacher guarding the Tower of Trials cried out in shock, "Heavens! Impossible! How is this possible?" Everyone looked at him in confusion, especially the few principals who felt that this teacher Mao was usually rather reliable. Why was she acting so abnormally today? Could it be that she had contracted some kind of illness? Seeing that everyone did not understand, teacher Mao stammered in excitement, "Everyone come out. There are still people on the second level." Yun Chujio. Deputy Dean Xiao glared at him. "Why can't you even speak clearly? What do you mean?" Teacher Mao took a deep breath. After calming himself down, he said, "A total of 12 students entered today. Now that everyone has come out, but the second level of the trial tower is still lit up. This means that the person on the second level of the trial tower is Yun Chujio." Everyone immediately exploded. Impossible. This was impossible. Teacher Mao must be spouting nonsense. Only the fourth level of the Holy Spirit realm could make it to the second level of the Tower of Trials. Yun Chujio was trash from the first level of the Spirit sect. How could she make it to the second level? Could it be that there was something wrong with the Tower of Trials? Everyone felt that this was impossible. How could Yun Chujio make it to the second level? Could it be that she was bluffing? Dean Huangfu suddenly thought of Yun Chujio's abnormal talent and could not help but sigh. Such a good seedling had died trapped in this trial tower. "I am a sinner of the Tianyuan Academy." Deputy Dean Xiao muttered softly, "Actually, Yun Chujio still has a way to get out." Everyone's eyes turned to him. Dean Huangfu asked excitedly, "What way?" "If Yun Chujio passes the 9th level of the trial tower, she can be ejected out." Deputy Dean Xiao did not even have the confidence to say these words himself. In tens of thousands of years, no one had ever passed the 9th level of the trial tower. Not to mention Yun Chujio, who was at the first level of the Spirit sect. When everyone heard Deputy Dean Xiao's words, they were instantly discouraged. This possibility did not exist at all. Even a 5th level spiritual venerable could only reach the 6th level, not to mention Yun Chujio, who was on the first level of the Spirit sect. Dean Huangfu sighed. "Everyone, there's no need to stand guard here. Go back and think of a way to save Yun Chujio." Deputy Dean Xiao and the others knew that it was useless to stand guard here. They dispersed one after another. Only teacher Mao, Feng Ming and the others were still waiting outside the trial tower. Feng Ming and the others recalled the incident at the Azure Mystic Continent's Wuwei Tower. At that time, everyone thought that junior sister Yun wouldn't be able to pass the 9th level, but junior sister Yun had done it. They believed that she would be able to do it this time. All right. These three people were filled with a mysterious confidence towards Yun Chujio. If you calculate, the 9th level should be the 9th level of the Spirit Paragon realm. How can you make it to the 9th level? Yun Chujio pursed her lips indifferently, then she pointed at her own head. "HMB's strength is one thing but brains are another. Your master's strength is not enough to supplement my intelligence. Besides, I'm not really dead anyway. Let's fight." "I don't believe that I can't make it to the 9th level. Master, I think you might as well let the lightning strike you. If the heavenly lightning destroys this trial tower, won't we be able to leave? It's probably going to be tough. This trial tower is obviously not a common object. It might even be a divine artifact or something. The heavenly lightning might not be able to strike it. We'll give it a try." Sure enough, Yun Chujio cursed for a long time, but there was no reaction at all. However, there was movement in the water. A huge sea beast appeared in front of them and swam quickly towards Yun Chujio. Chapter 1151. I'm really too miserable. The sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale was a 21st level sea beast. Its body was extremely tough and it had sharp teeth. Could be said to be the tyrant of the sea. The eyes of the sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale were filled with contempt. Although it was a mirage beast derived from a formation, its intelligence was no different from that of an ordinary demon beast. It really could not understand why such a weak chicken would appear in this trial tower. First level of the Spirit sect? Was she deliberately looking for trouble? Just as the swallowing saber-toothed whale was puzzled, it saw the little girl in front of it waving her claws with a smile. "Hi Lord Whale, how are you?" The swallowing saber-toothed whale stared at Yunchujia with its huge eyes. It thought to itself, this human little girl is most likely mentally ill. When people who normally come to the trial see me, they either turn around and run away or they are prepared to fight with me. What is she trying to do? Lord Whale, I know that I can't beat you, so I won't resist. I'll tell you about my bad luck to relieve your boredom. Yunchujia's smile immediately turned into a frown. The speed of the change of expression made the swallowing saber-toothed whale dumbfounded. Was this little weakling a color-changing cuttlefish? How did she change her expression so quickly? However, it was not bad to hear from her since she had nothing to do anyway. Lord Whale, you don't know. I originally wanted to take a look at the situation inside the trial tower, but I didn't expect to be sucked in by a huge force. I'm really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. I usually respect the elderly and love the young. I didn't do anything wicked, so why am I so unlucky? I won't be able to get out of here in this lifetime. I guess I'll have to die countless times before I can truly die. Have you ever seen someone who is even more unlucky than me? Yunchujia said, to the point where she was sad and she even started to cry. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was stunned when it heard that. After it heard that, it couldn't help but open its big mouth and laugh at Yunchujia's misfortune. This little weakling was really too pitiful. It was so funny that this whale would die. A fierce look flashed across Yunchujia's eyes. She waved her hands repeatedly, and several small purple lightning bolts and small purple needles swam into the swallowing saber-toothed whale's big mouth swiftly. When the swallowing saber-toothed whale discovered it, it was already too late. Its mouth was too big. When it closed its mouth, a lot of small purple lightning bolts and small purple needles had already entered. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was instantly furious. This little weakling is really too sinister. Chapter 1152. No blind spots. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was out of luck. It had never met such a depraved person. Moreover, why was this little weakling's spiritual power attack so abnormal? She could even control the time of the explosion. Was she really only at the first level of the spirit sect? The swallowing saber-toothed whale kept rolling in the seawater. Before the pain in its stomach eased up, its eyes and rear area were attacked again. The seawater was soon dyed red with fresh blood. Yunchujia would not let go of such a great opportunity. She waved her hands non-stop and kept ordering the purple needles to self-destruct. As for the purple lightning, she did not even need to command it to attack the swallowing saber-toothed whale. The swallowing saber-toothed whale finally could not hold on anymore. It let out a miserable cry and floated on the sea surface with its belly turned over. Then it disappeared and the sea water returned to its original color. Yunchujia was wondering if she should pass when a white light flashed before her eyes. When she saw the scene in front of her, Yunchujia wanted to strangle the weapon spirit of the trial tower to death. Yunchujia was currently being hung on a cliff by a vine. Below it was a level 22 Vadra earth-splitting wild bear. It opened its bloody mouth wide, drooling as it waited for Yunchujia to fall. On the cliff, a level 22 single-horned bull was gnawing on the vine. Judging from the speed of its gnawing, the vine that was hanging on Yunchujia would break in less than 15 minutes. The worst part was that not far from the cliff, there was another level 22 poison-striped double-tailed python that was slithering towards Yunchujia. As the saying went, it was bad enough to be attacked from both sides. Damn it, she was attacked from all angles. Yunchujia recalled a painting she had seen in her previous life. There was a person hanging from a tree branch. The tree was about to break. There was a snake on the tree, a lion under the tree, and 2 crocodiles in the river. Damn it. Her situation was even worse than that person's. Yunchujia's brain was working quickly. She had to make a decision quickly or there would be no room for escape. If this place was not restricted to flying, she could easily escape. However, it was precisely restricted to flying. What should she do now? Yunchujia estimated the distance from this place to the ground. If she jumped down, she would probably be smashed into pieces. However, if she climbed up, not only would she have to deal with a single-horned bull, but she would also have to deal with the poison-striped double-tailed python. There was no way for her to survive. The poison-striped twin-tailed python was getting closer and closer to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could even smell the stench of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. It was not that Yun Chujio had never thought of using her spiritual power to attack, but it was impossible for her to succeed in a short period of time. It was simply a waste of time. Do I really have to die first? No, even if it's not true death, I don't want to experience the taste of death. There must be a way. Calm down, calm down. Compared to climbing up, jumping down is more advantageous. But how can I guarantee that I won't fall to my death and not be bitten to death by that earth-shattering King Kong savage bear? Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly lit up. From her storage ring, she threw down the corpse of the demon beast. The earth-shattering King Kong savage bear was stunned at first, then it thought about it. After all, the little weakling on top wouldn't be able to escape from its palm. It would be good to eat some first, so it lowered its head and started to eat the corpses of the demon beasts. Seeing this, Yun Chujio unhesitatingly released the vines and climbed down the cliff at a high speed. The poison-striped double-tailed python was stunned. How could this weak human chicken be better at climbing than the pythons? The cliff was very steep. How did she climb down so quickly? The left eye of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear immediately began to bleed non-stop. The earth-shattering bear was completely enraged this time. It did not care about its injured left eye and used its huge paw to hit the ground. Immediately, a huge crack appeared on the ground. Fortunately, Yun Chujio's reaction was fast enough. That was why she did not fall into the crack. The earth-shattering bear roared angrily and kept hitting the ground. Soon several cracks appeared on the ground. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It was better to run. She first found a place to catch her breath. She would deal with this stupid bear after she thought of a good idea. Yun Chujio thought of this and ran all the way. Although the level of the earth-shattering King Kong wild bear's spiritual power was much higher than Yun Chujio's, its left eye was extremely painful. It was anxious to find herbs to relieve the pain, so it gave up after chasing for a while. The little weakling could not run out of its palm no matter how much it ran. It would treat its injuries first and then deal with her. Yun Chujio saw that the diamond earth-splitting wild bear was no longer chasing her, so she sat down on the ground and panted heavily. This level 22 demon beast was equivalent to the 4th to 6th level of the Holy Spirit realm. The gap between her and them was really too big. It was really difficult to pass through the 2nd level. Although it was only for a short moment, it was enough for the purple needles that Yun Chujio shot into its ears. Explode. The earth-shattering bear's huge head was instantly blown into a bloody mess and it died instantly. Then the earth-shattering bear's huge body disappeared as if nothing had happened before. Yun Chujio sat on the ground panting heavily. Emma, it's a good thing that this stinky bear is stupid enough. Otherwise we wouldn't have been able to kill it. Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king eagerly moved to Yun Chujio's side. Master, you always say that I'm a freeloader. This time I've done a meritorious deed, right? Yun Chujio nodded. Xiao Hong, although you've done a meritorious deed this time, you're still too weak. When will you be able to grow another tail? Master, this tail isn't something that I can grow whenever I want. I need time to grow it. Well, Master, I'll just enter the spirit beast pouch to accompany boss Xiao He. Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king heard the two words Xiao Hong. Although it had already accepted its fate, every time it heard this name, it would be filled with sorrow. Chapter 1155 Smelly Don't Have a Snake's Face. Yun Chujio put Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king into her spiritual beast bag and ate something. Then she began to think about her next step. After killing the diamond earth-splitting wild bear, she did not go to the 3rd level. This meant that she had to kill the other 2 demonic beasts as well. Yun Chujio thought about it and felt that she should kill the poison-striped twin-tailed python first. Otherwise, when she was dealing with the single-horned wild bull, the poison-striped twin-tailed python would sneak attack her. However, the python was a little tricky on the cliff. She had to lure it down and then think of a way to lure it into the forest. She was on the tree and it was under the tree. That way she would have a certain geographical advantage. Yes. That was the plan. Yun Chujio had rested enough and returned to the bottom of the cliff. The python was resting in a cave on the cliff. When it smelled Yun Chujio's scent, it poked its huge triangular head out from the cave. Hey you coward! Do you dare to fight me for 300 rounds? Yun Chujio shouted with her arms akimbo. The poison-striped twin-tailed python spat out its tongue and ignored Yun Chujio. It was puzzled in its heart. Was that stupid bear killed by the little girl? It looks like an earthworm. With your looks, how can you be called a demon beast? I think you are worse than a real beast. You are such an ugly monster. I can't even eat for half a month just by looking at you. You are so ugly that you have reached a whole new level. No wonder you have been staying on the cliff. You are really self-aware. If you were to go down to the ground, all the flowers, plants, and trees would probably die from your ugliness. You even made a pattern on your body when you were free. Bah. Ugly people are always causing trouble. You are so stinky that you don't even want a snake's face. How could the poison-striped double-tailed python withstand Yun Chujio's provocation? It climbed down the cliff with its tongue sticking out. From afar one could smell the fishy smell. Seeing the poison-striped double-tailed python climb down, Yun Chujio ran into the forest. The poison-striped double-tailed python followed closely behind. Yun Chujio slipped into the forest and climbed to the top of a tree. Yun Chujio thought that the poison-striped twin-tailed python would also climb up the tree. Then she would be able to use her spiritual power to attack the eyes of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. However, she did not expect that the huge body of the poison-striped twin-tailed python would swing and the thick tree would actually be split into two. Yun Chujio was so scared that she quickly used the sticky silk to wrap around another tree. Then she climbed up the tree. The eyes of the poison-striped twin-tailed python revealed a look of contempt. With another swing of its tail, the tree also broke. It was as if the tree was not a big tree but a small grass. Yun Chujio secretly cursed in her heart. She originally thought that she was thinking of a clever idea, but now it seemed that she was being smart. This small forest was not big, and it would not be long before the thick and strong trees here were knocked down. At that time, she would have no way to escape. What should she do? Xiao Hanio's curse had already been used up. Moreover, this poison-striped twin-tailed python did not have legs, so there was no such thing as wrestling. The ball of wool had just used up more than half of its sticky thread to deal with the diamond-splitting earth savage bear. She could not use it again unless it was an emergency. Although Yun Chujio tried her best to think of a way, when the small forest was completely destroyed, she still could not think of any good ideas, so she could only try her best to escape. Although the poison-striped twin-tailed python had no legs, its crawling speed on the ground was faster than Yun Chujio's running speed. Soon it caught up with Yun Chujio and spat out a large mouthful of venom at Yun Chujio with its bright red tongue. Chapter 1156. The transformation of a bullfighter. After the poison-striped twin-tailed python finished spraying its venom, it proudly waited for Yun Chujio to die. Its venom was extremely poisonous. As long as it stuck to its body, it would die on the spot. This little girl was dead for sure. However, what surprised the poison-striped twin-tailed python was that the little girl was running and cursing in disgust. Fuck. You stinky earthworm, you actually spit at people for no reason. You're really shameless. Not dead? How was that possible? The python regained its senses and quickly caught up with Yun Chujio again. It spat out another mouthful of venom and then yes, the little girl ran even faster. Could it be that its venom was useless against her? Since the venom can't kill you, it'll just swallow you. When the python caught up with Yun Chujio again, it no longer spat out venom. Instead, it opened its bloody mouth and bit at Yun Chujio. It was too late for Yun Chujio to dodge. Her entire body was sucked into the mouth of the python. Just as the python was about to close its mouth and swallow Yun Chujio into its stomach, she realized that her mouth was blocked by something and she couldn't close it at all. It turned out that during the emergency, Yun Chujio had used a rolling pin to block the upper and lower jaws of the python. Moreover, the rolling pin could grow longer and longer, so the upper and lower jaws of the python were firmly blocked. A fierce look flashed across Yun Chujio's eyes. Damn it, you still want to eat me? I'll make you bloom from the inside right now. Yun Chujio kept waving her hands, and the small purple needles continuously entered the body of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. Yun Chujio felt that it was about time, so she flew out. Explode. In an instant, hundreds of small purple needles exploded in the body of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. The poison-striped twin-tailed python was instantly blasted into a bloody mess. It rolled on the ground for a while and died. Yun Chujio rested for a while more before she climbed up the cliff. She was prepared to deal with the single-horned violent bull. This fellow really didn't have any good ideas in his mind. Moreover, he didn't know what was going on above the cliff. She could only take one step at a time. Yun Chujio used the sticky thread to finally climb to the top of the cliff. There was actually an open grassland on top. The single-horned violent bull was leisurely eating grass. However, when it saw Yun Chujio, it immediately moaned and rushed towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was so scared that she quickly climbed down the cliff again. And this bull was too big. It was almost as big as the diamond-splitting wild bear. It was probably not that easy to deal with. She had to outsmart it. When the single-horned bull saw Yun Chujio climb down the cliff, it moaned a few times and went back to eating grass. Yun Chujio thought for a long time but couldn't think of any good ideas. Suddenly, an idea came to her and she remembered the bullfight that she had seen in her previous life. Although this single-horned bull was a demon beast, it might also be affected. She could just climb down again. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio rummaged through her storage ring and finally found a red cloth. Then she quietly climbed to the top of the cliff. Old bull, what do you think this is?" Yun Chujio mimicked the actions of a bullfighter and used the red cloth to provoke the single-horned violent bull. Sure enough, the single-horned violent bull charged at the red cloth. Yun Chujio dodged while cursing in her heart. It seemed that although this demonic beast had intelligence, it was still a beast in nature and still had the habits of a beast. Although the single-horned violent bull started attacking the red cloth as Yun Chujio wished, the single-horned violent bull was too big. Yun Chujio was once again forced to climb down the cliff after a few teasing moves. Chapter 1157 Suicide By jumping off a cliff. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Although her strength was not as strong as that single-horned bull, she could carry out the strategy of pestering it and constantly harass it, causing it to constantly exhaust its strength. When it was too tired to run, she would deal with it again. Hence, Yun Chujio climbed up the top of the cliff again and again to fight the bull. When it could not hold on anymore, she would climb down the cliff. Although the single-horned bull was panting with anger, it was helpless. Every time the single-horned bull wanted to sleep, Yun Chujio would rush up and tease it. In a short while she would climb down the cliff again. The single-horned bull was going crazy. The single-horned bull could not rest, but Yun Chujio could seize some time to close her eyes and rest. After being entangled for 5 whole days, the single-horned bull could not stand it anymore. When Yun Chujio rushed up the cliff again to tease it, it moaned a few times in grief and indignation. Then, under Yun Chujio's eyes, it actually jumped off the cliff. What was that? Did it jump off the cliff to commit suicide? Yun Chujio touched her nose. The single-horned bull's ability to withstand blows was too weak, right? Didn't I scold you for no reason? Didn't I not let you sleep? Didn't I pester you for 5 days? Did you commit suicide just like that? Originally, I wanted to fight with you for another 10 days to half a month. Just as Yun Chujio was complaining, a white light flashed before her eyes, and the scene before her changed once again. At this moment, Tianyuan Academy was already in chaos. Di Baiming and Shui Wuji came to Tianyuan Academy once again. Unlike last time when they were calm and collected, this time, their bodies were filled with killing intent. After seeing Yin Sulian being sent flying by Shui Wuji's kick, those fanboys and girls, no one dared to come any closer. They only saw the two of them follow Dean Huangfu to the trial tower from afar. Everyone could not help but discuss, "Damn, this is too scary. This is the first time I've seen young Master Wuji so furious. That Yin Sulian probably won't be able to get out of bed for a month. Why are Your Excellency and young Master Wuji here again? And they even went to the trial tower? Could it be because of Yun Chujio? Forget it. How is this possible? Your Eminence might have come for Yun Chujio. After all, the palace master's wife seems to like Yun Chujio quite a lot. Young Master Wuji was very annoyed with Yun Chujio last time. Then what's going on? I guess they came for something else. As for going to the trial tower, it should be because the dean wants the two of them to help think of a way to save Yun Chujio. While everyone was discussing, Teacher Mao, who was guarding the trial tower, was in trouble. Xue Wuji immediately scolded Teacher Mao. "You brainless idiot. My little sister Jiao said that if you want to enter the trial tower, just give her the jade token. If you give her the jade token, will she sneak in? If anything happens to my little sister Jiao, I'll kill you." Teacher Mu was dumbfounded by the scolding. Little ninth sister? Who was little ninth sister? Yun Chujiao? How did Yun Chujiao become young Master Wuji's sister? Dean Huangfu had already activated the isolation array, so the onlookers from afar couldn't see what was happening. He quickly helped Teacher Mu out of the situation. "Young Master Wuji, Teacher Mu stopped Yun Chujiao from entering the trial tower for her own good. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have told Yun Chujiao about the trial tower at that time." Although Xue Wuji wished he could scold Dean Huangfu, he still had the respect he should have. He could only say in a muffled voice, "He just looks down on my little sister Jiao. He even said that it's for her own good." You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.